Casino of the Dallas Cowboys. And with over 10,000 of your favorite games, we're the place for you to be a star.
Shining star, no matter who you are, shining bright to see.
Experience the ultimate in luxury at WinStar, where the opulent WinStar Spa, 36 world-class golf holes, and top-notch entertainers combine to offer you the star treatment you truly deserve.
Shining star for you to see what your life can truly be.
Spurs assistant coach Becky Hammond on inspiration.
I hope it's an inspiration to girls out there, being the first woman to coach an NBA team. But I've always been more inspired by the future, not by what I've done, but by what's coming next.
What do you want to do next? Whether it's buying a home, growing your wealth, or protecting your assets, SWBC is here to support your next steps toward financial success with personalized service and expert advice.
Visit SWBC.com to take the next step toward your financial future.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Hello, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Yes, indeed, it is the Get right here on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Datatula here with you alongside the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Shout out to Chris Strong on the ones and twos. And I guess I've called it the Get Right, but in a way, it's almost the Peace-a-thon post-game show.
There we go.
In a way, on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, 2023. Peace-a-thon, the actual radio program is concluded, and shout out to Kevin Hagelin, Corey Majors, Mike Bassick, Derek Holland, and the many, many people who joined them over their 14 hours or 13 and a half hours, something like that, of broadcasting today. But the job is not done. They've raised a lot of money, but the job is not done. And I say that because there's still a ton of packages available to be bid on. You can still donate for the cause of My Possibilities. All those things are open. The donation will be open even well past tonight, but the bids are still going until 11:59 this evening. So there's a lot of great things to bid on. I'll try and highlight many of them as we go along. Like, hey man, Dirk Nowitzki, personal Nike shoe that's autographed. There's a couple of those. Those are still up here. There's a package for a preseason game, a Cowboys suite in a preseason game that not only has a suite that you can invite, what is it, like 24? 26. You have 26
It's the whole
people.
neighborhood.
It is catered with, beer, alcohol, food, all those things. And it comes with a regulation size icy white Cowboys helmet signed by Trayvon Diggs himself, right? So, there's a lot of incredible things. Hey, man, there's a Kobe Bryant framed jersey that is currently going for $871. I don't know if you remember, Blake, after the tragic passing of Kobe Bryant, everything Kobe Bryant became so difficult to get.
I actually have a story with that. So I used to work at the Nike store, the outlet, and we had Kobe shoes, and they were popular, don't get me wrong, but they weren't sell out like that. When he passed that same day and the next day, people were flooding in and buying 50 to 60 pairs, bulk selling. We had to limit people to one at a time. So I know how it is. And so to get any Kobe memorabilia is hard to come by, especially signed. That is one you want
Kobe
to get.
Bryant jersey. And this is number 8. This ain't 24. So look, man, there's so much incredible memorabilia, not just memorabilia though, jewelry, home goods, health and wellness experiences, things for the kids, for the babies, all in there. They got swim lessons in there. So yeah, man, check it out. 105throughthefan.com/peaceathon. Those things are still available going till 11:59. Make sure to check those out. Get your bids in, because Peaceathon, the bidding and the auction is still up and running. We appreciate you rocking with us here on 105.3 The Fan as we get ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Food, turkey.
So food happening, turkey happening tomorrow, but of course, as it pertains to this particular station, Cowboys happening tomorrow, baby. Your Dallas Cowboys welcome in the Washington Commandos, or sorry, let me be professional. The Washington Commanders are coming in, helmed by Sam Howell, to face off against your Dallas Cowboys. And if you want to join in on the program, 877-881-1053. What are you expecting from this game against the Washington Commanders? 3:30 first kick. And obviously, we've got you covered here on 105 through the Fan. You know that it'll be Broadus and Chiafalo starting this thing off at 12, getting your pregame going. They'll have all sorts of guests as they typically do, and that'll take you into the actual game. And of course, postgame also will be there, and you'll be involved.
I'll be there. Me and Mr. Will Chambers, 9 a.m. I believe to 12:30. We'll be here tomorrow morning. So if you're tired of my voice, you have to deal with it at least one more morning before the Cowboys pregame show. We'll be back tomorrow. But what am I looking forward to?
Yeah, what are you expecting to see in this game?
I'm expecting for, honestly, Deron Bland to get another pick because he's playing against a team that passes more than anybody in the entire league. Sam Howell will sling the rock, and he tends to sling it to the other team. He's going to get his yards, but if Deron Bland were to get a pick, especially a pick six, who better than Sam Howell throwing the ball all over the place? And funny enough, the Commanders' run game is not bad. It's pretty average. That's probably, if they were to keep this game close and kind of limit possessions, that's what they should do. But they just don't lean on it as much as you think. But you would think against a Cowboys rush defense where that's not particularly our best point, you would think that that's what they would go towards. But I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. I think Deron Bland's going to have another highlight play. And I think we see a Micah 2-sack game at minimum.
Okay, let's start with the interceptions. Let's start here because I agree with you. I think that maybe not Deron Bland himself, although he is having himself a fantastic season, fantastic start to a career, all of these things, right? 4 pick sixes in this year, 6 interceptions this season as well. You were right. The Commanders are tied for third, really. There's 3 teams tied for third on the most interceptions thrown this season.
Not a great stat to
The
be
Commanders sit alongside the Buffalo Bills and the Chicago Bears when it comes to throwing the ball away to the other team. And that's great for this pass defense that the Cowboys have. Like, they are opportunistic. They get their hand on the football, and you highlighted the man in particular. Deron Bland is going to have opportunities to take this ball away. So I'm anticipating getting a chance to get some turnovers when it comes to your Dallas Cowboys in this game. I mean, they are going to throw the ball a lot. You mentioned that. In fact, oddly enough, in something that, I mean, it kind of makes sense when you consider the amount of usage that they do. But Sam Howell is top 2 when it comes to yards thrown, and so I think this is a great evidence that you can't just go off of yards alone. But this is a top 10 team, even when you factor in yards per game, and then even when you focus in on passing. They're top 10 when it comes to yards per game, passing yards.
Also the most sacked guy, too. So
there you
that
go.
comes with it.
That's exactly where I was going to. Is like they're throwing the ball a lot, but also that offensive line is great. And honestly, I subscribe to the theory that sacks are largely a quarterback stat because it speaks to holding on to the football versus getting rid of the football or having, quick reads or what have you. Sam Howell likes holding on to that football. He's got a big arm, but maybe he leans on that too much, thinking he can hold on and find that opportunity. He has literally been sacked 51 times this season. I think that with the pass rush that this team has, they have an opportunity to put up maybe a historic pass rush game. Because I think you were mentioning, or during Peace-a-thon, Kevin Hagler was mentioning that the record on Thanksgiving Day is 4 sacks.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Don't get me wrong. But if you consider and you pair Micah Parsons coming off a 2.5 sack day, you also add Sam Howell, a sack-prone quarterback. Maybe, just maybe, we get to an opportunity where Micah Parsons can have a banner day, and even if he doesn't individually, as a defensive line, they might be able to do something special.
As long as Micah gets him a little dry scoop and is shooting out of a rocket like he was last game, I think he'll be fine. And I think you made a great point. Sacks are a quarterback stat, and sacks also don't show you who the best edge rusher is. A lot of times, Micah is getting double and triple team. I believe he's top 2, maybe number 1 at double teams accumulated for. Like, he gets a lot of pressure towards him, which lets a guy like a Sam Williams and DeMarcus Lawrence get to the pass rusher. So I don't want to put on a certain person getting a certain amount of sacks, but I think the Cowboys defense, because the fun thing is they create such pressure on the quarterback, and he runs around and they throw the ball up, and you have ball hawks all over that secondary, highlighted by Deron Bland, who's having an all-pro season. So I just think this is recipe for the Cowboys defense going off. So you have the Cowboys defense in fantasy. Play them this week. It should be a fun, entertaining game, to say the least, on Thursday at 3:30, I believe, Reg? 3:30 kickoff?
Yeah, it's a 3:30 kick in this game. How do you feel about the offensive passing game, not just like the amount of passing that they do, but for this Washington team? Because one of the things that we also have to consider, tight end Logan Thomas he's not an incredible, like, we're not talking about him as one of the elite tight ends in this league, right? We're not talking about him like Travis Kelce, like George Kittle, like Mark Andrews, who seems to maybe have been lost for the season for the Ravens. We're not talking about him in kind of those conversations. However, he's a solid tight end, 6'6", has opportunity, has some movement. And the tough thing about it is this is a team that normally is very well equipped to handle tight ends. Jaron Kearse has been listed as doubtful for this game with the back injury. Is there any concern there for you? Because, I mean, look, I'm not trying to say that this is an opportunity for the Washington Commanders to go off or anything. However, this could be an interesting, kind of matchup to watch.
What's the safety that's replacing him? I forgot his name.
Well, you might have Wanye Thomas step in.
I like what I've seen from him. I'm not going to sit here and act like he is going to fill and there's going to be no gaps, but I don't think there's a large drop-off is more so what I'm hinting at. I think he will fill those gaps fine, but Logan Thomas is a guy that knows how to find the gap. So I wouldn't be surprised if early they target him to kind of see where that safety spot is and kind of seeing that that's obviously the guy out of our lineup. So I would be very curious to see how they can guard Logan Thomas, because we've been pretty good at covering tight ends this year, but Logan Thomas is a guy that I believe he's had a good career day against the Cowboys before. He typically knows how to play against us. And so it'll be an interesting matchup. I think that's the only way they kind of move the ball down the field, because I love Scary Terry. Don't get me wrong. But if Deron Bland's on top of him, I think we got that locked up. I mean, Terry
McLaurin is an issue, man. Like,
he is.
That's
a
good player. I'm with you in that. I believe in the capabilities of this defensive secondary. I just know that I'm also still open to the possibility that there might be some big shots like this. It almost, if you want to break down Sam Howell, there's a lot of, losing yards due to sacks, and then every once in a while you just get these big 30-yard chunk plays. And so I'm intrigued to see how many of those he ends up managing to, get in the passing game versus how many times is he going to end up sacked, or how many times is he going to throw the ball in an opportune place for the Washington team and in an opportune place for your Cowboys defense.
If you're the Washington OC, do you stick to the run? Not stick to the run. Do you stick to the pass? Or do you go with, hey, we're not as good at it, but the Cowboys aren't good on defense? Like, do you play to your strength or to the opponent's weakness? Run the ball, pass the ball. If you were the Washington OC and Bieniemy.
Well, I think Eric Bieniemy is going to try to stay true to what they do.
Okay.
But one of the things that I know Brian Broaddus has talked about a lot, this is a team that has a little bit of capability of running the football. Like, they're not putrid at it. However, they seem to not want to do it. Now, they did do a little bit of that against the Giants last week, and I wonder was that an anomaly, or is that something that they're trying to trend towards and change during the season? Because one thing that sometimes we don't give enough credit for with some teams is, the idea that they're not the same team 10 weeks into the season, right? Teams change due to circumstance, injuries, learning, progress, all those types of things. So I do wonder, are we going to see maybe a more run-inclined offense from the Washington Commandos in this game? If that's the case, I think it'll be interesting to see how the Cowboys defense handles that, because they're not great at run stopping. Not saying that they're terrible at it, but they're not great at run stopping. I mean, when it comes to efficiency, they're actually very bad. They're low on this.
Just Achilles heel.
So I'm interested to see if that comes out, how the Cowboys handle that. But ultimately, I think where I'm falling on this is I anticipate a fairly easy win for the Cowboys. Now, obviously, this is a slightly different level of game than the previous two games that they've had, where you were playing the Giants and the Panthers, who are very bad teams.
Probably the worst too.
Right? Now you look at the Washington team that they're not a very bad team, but they're not a good one. Don't get me wrong. So, like, this is now a middling team and a little bit of a step up, especially for those teams that are those people that have complaints about this team saying they only beat bad teams. Now, understand, this is still another team under 500. And if you look at the Cowboys' wins, all 7 of them have come against teams that have a win-loss record under 500. So, look, I understand that this isn't going to change your mind on anything, but this is a slightly different team. I want to see them come out and handle business. And I'm expecting a score line, maybe especially with the opportunity for more turnovers, I think. I'm expecting a score line closer to maybe 35-17.
I got 31-13.
Okay. All right. What makes you think that? What factors into that decision?
I think kind of what you said is hits around now. I think we're going to have some scoring touchdowns, some defensive touchdowns, whether that be one or two. I think Dak finds CD early and realizes I got to get my guy involved. Off the injury reports, full participant, ready to go. Don't have Rico Dowdle. I believe he's questionable, so probably not going to play on a short week is what he's trending towards, I believe.
We'll have to see on that. I'm not certain on that, but yeah.
And then Curse, I believe, is out. So
yeah, he's doubtful. So I would not anticipate, as you mentioned, on a short week.
I could see the Commandos getting some cheap points, and like we said, Sam Howell moves the ball down. He's, I believe, 1 or 2 in passing yards. So it's not like they don't know how to move the ball. They're going to get some points. We're not going to shut them out. This isn't like the bottom tier offense. They will give us also some opportunities. I think this trends more to a high scoring game rather than a low scoring game, obviously. So I think they get some cheap points. I think they maybe run one in, pass one in, get a field goal. And I think the Cowboys defense really wins this game for them, and Dak just does enough. Efficient.
Also, it's Thanksgiving. So in addition to like the football, are you excited, or how are you feeling about the halftime show? Actually, let me start with, what are you typically doing Thanksgiving halftime shows? Like, is this something that you pay attention to, that you care about, or is it something where it's just kind of like it's on, this opportunity to get seconds, thirds, opportunity to maybe talk with some family members while this is on?
Definitely the latter. I'm not a big post game. The only time I watch a halftime show of anything is the Super Bowl for the commercials.
Sure.
So I've never been a big like halftime commercial. That's time for me to talk to family, get to see some people, like you said, get some seconds, get some stuffing, some more mashed potatoes and gravy. So, but I know Dolly Parton is on.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Don't say that with so
I was just making sure. No, I was making sure it was Dolly.
You didn't want to pull a Jerry and say Reba McEntire.
I didn't want to say the wrong name.
Honestly, when he said that in the interview with Sean and RJ on Tuesday, or that yesterday, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It does not feel like yesterday. I was like, wait, is he wrong or am I wrong? Because like, are they getting Reba too? I'm here for Reba McEntire. She goes up. I'm also here for Dolly Parton. I'm actually going to pay a little bit more attention than I typically would. I think I fall into that second class like you, where it's like, all right, this is an opportunity to get some more food, right? However, I kind of want to see what Dolly's up to. I want to see what the performance level is still at this point. And I know that she's written some bangers. So
I saw her at the Tennessee game when Peyton walked her out, and it was like, I'm not gonna lie, she kind of has this glow about her.
That's right.
Like, I don't really know what's going on, but I'm tuned in. Like, I'm like, okay, she's making me want to watch the TV. And so I think it'll be similar on the Cowboys game, where it's like, her music might not be what I put on in the car, but she just has this glow and electricity to her, to whatever she brings.
You don't be riding to Dolly Parton. Come on, man. You and the homies get in the car. You turn on some Dolly Parton.
That's the album. That might be the next album review we need to do.
Clearly, that's how you roll. 24-year-olds in 2023 absolutely are bumping Dolly Parton. You mark my words.
But I'll be tuned in on Thursday to see what she's got, and just kind of see how she interacts with everyone. She seems like a fun character, so I'll be looking forward to it.
All right, man, and you should all be looking forward to it. Cowboys, Commandos for your Thanksgiving holiday. If you're out and about, or if you just want to, listen to the smooth stylings of Brad Sham, 105 through the Fan has got you covered. We start at 9 a.m. with Blake and Will Chambers. It's y'all two holding it down, and then y'all will lead into noon, where our pregame show starts with Eric Chiafalo and Brian Broaddus. During that time, they'll have obviously the live booth visit with Bobby Belt. They'll check in with Babe, Christie, exclusive interview, Mike McCarthy, and obviously they'll have Tracy Wolfson, who's going to be on the call for CBS, and Chris Arnold, his player interview this week. Tyler Smith, the left guard for your Dallas Cowboys. So all sorts of fun when it comes to this broadcast of the Cowboys on 105 through the Fan on a very special day. Food's birthday, as I like to call it, Thanksgiving on the Fan. Appreciate you rocking with us right here on the Get Right on 105 through the Fan, the Peace-a-thon postgame show. Don't forget to check out 105throughthefan.com/Peace-a-thon. Bids are still going till 11:59 tonight. You can still donate at that page as well. A lot of incredible items. I highlighted the Dirk shoes. I highlighted the Cowboys suite. There's still there's a taxidermy squirrel in here. It's lot number 68. And it is the most hilarious thing.
What's the bid at?
I'll have to check it out. I'll check it out. I'll get you a number on the other side of the break. And coming up next on The Fan, who or what are you sports thankful for? Talk to us on the truckwreck.com text line, 877-881-1053. We'll do it next on The Fan.
The latest from the Star in Frisco, as well as inside information from around the league. It's DFW's top football podcast for a reason. Love of the Star with Brian Broaddus and Bobby Bell. Sponsored by Boomer Jacks on the Odyssey app or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
Can't sleep with this cold.
Honey.
Honey?
Honey, you need NyQuil Severe Honey.
NyQuil Severe Honey gives you powerful cold and flu symptom relief with a dreamy honey taste.
Feeling better, honey? Honey? I'll take that as a yes.
Try NyQuil Severe Honey for powerful cold and flu symptom relief. NyQuil Severe with honey flavor. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever. Honeylicious, best sleep with a cold medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
This is Sean Trafe here with Jeff Jr., owner of Trajan Wealth, talking about 401ks. I've always heard that 401ks were great, but you're telling me something different?
Well, 401ks are great when you're employed there. However, if you're no longer employed, you probably don't want to keep that 401k with your old employer, and you probably don't want to roll that old 401k into your new employer's plan.
Really? Why is that?
Well, most 401ks have limited investment options and can cost you thousands of dollars more in fees. And that's true even if you roll it over into your new employer's 401k. You also lose a lot of control by leaving your 401k with your old employer. If the company sells or merges, they often freeze it.
Now that is great insight. If you have a 401k with an old employer, stop what you're doing and call Trajan Wealth. 469-579-3500. That's 469-579-3500. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Paid advertisement.
Nothing turns game day into a great day like stocking up at Specs and cheering on the Cowboys. As a proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys, Specs has everything you need to turn your pregame party into a full-on football feast. With lower prices on a stadium-sized selection of world-class wines, spirits, beers, seltzers, and gourmet foods, Specs is your one-stop shop for all your game day essentials. Cowboy up at Specs. The fun starts here.
Our fan interview replays are proudly presented by Ciroc Vodka.
NFM Black Friday doorbusters start Friday at 8 a.m. only while they last. Shop doorbusters on electronics like TVs and third-generation AirPods. Plus savings on popular vinyl records and kitchen gadgets. And don't miss incredible doorbusters on recliners and sofas. Plus 30-month financing on furniture, flooring, and qualifying appliance, TV, and home audio brands. Only at NFM in Grandscape. Store closed Thanksgiving. Doorbusters limit 1 per customer while quantities last. Some exclusions apply. Minimum monthly payments required. 80% APR. See store for details.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is sponsored by Frankel & Frankel. Life is unpredictable. Accidents happen. Frankel & Frankel are the go-to attorneys for car and truck wrecks in DFW. If you or a loved one has been in an accident, contact Frankel & Frankel for a free consultation at truckwreck.com or call 214-817-333-3333.
It's the Get Right here on 105 through the Fan, substituting as the Peace-a-thon post-game show on this Peace-a-thon Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers. 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Atatula, Fan Phenom winner Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Appreciate you guys rocking with us on this Wednesday evening in the Metroplex. Blake, did you hear that song that we came back with?
Yes.
How you like it? Does it vibe? You feeling it? No.
Music quiz. I loved it.
I'm not quizzing you.
Okay.
I'm just saying, how do you feel? Like, there's no wrong answer to how you feel. I don't think
it put me at ease. I felt like I was on a country road. I had a biscuit in my hand, and the windows were down, and I felt like peaceful. That's the best way to put it.
That's the instrumental to Jolene by Dolly Parton.
Okay, let's go. It sounded country-esque.
So there you go. So look, you might be in on Dolly Parton. Go ahead and just keep an ear out at halftime tomorrow. See if you maybe like it a little bit. But yes, it's the Get Right here on 105 through the Fan. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we'll go around the NFL on this Wednesday. But right now, we're in a moment, we'll talk about who or what you are sports thankful for. Hit us up on the truckwreck.com text line 877-881-1053. I'm radio thankful for the KNC Masterpiece, who doing fantastic work to benefit my possibilities. I did 13 and a half hours of radio, 5:30 a.m. today till 7 p.m. And there's still bidding going on for the Peace-a-thon auction for 2023. A lot of interesting things. You asked me, or I told you about this taxidermied squirrel. It is labeled, it is lot number 68. If you want to see this at 105throughthefan.com/Peace-a-thon, Peaceathon. You can see Krusty's Cornered Sports DJ Squirrel is what it's labeled as. And it is a squirrel taxidermied that looks like it is DJing for 105 Through the Fan. It's a fantastic item. There's currently a $150 bid for it. And look, man, this is the most unique talking piece that you could have ever. Like, I don't know that anything would get people talking in your abode, in your place of work or what have you, if you had this. That's one of the things that's up here. There's a lot of things that you could bid on, man. There's a lot of things that are here. Now, nobody has even put a bid on this. There is a simple touch remodeling exterior house painting here. If you've been thinking about getting your house painted, you can do it. You could, get this lot number 131 on Peace-a-thon, do it for charity, and handle that business, right? Like, that's fantastic. And okay, I got to tell you about this one because the guys reminded me of this, and it's a huge deal. I'm not sure people understood what's happening. It's lot number 87 on the bid, and it is the Gosney Rocco box and pizza party for 12. And you're like, okay, what's this? I'm not in elementary school. What's the pizza party? So what's going to happen is Michael with Grill and DFW is going to bring dough, ingredients, and this Rocco box pizza oven. He'll make pizza at your house, teach you. There's a class on making pizzas, and you get to keep the oven. It's a $400 pizza oven that you get to keep. Like, it's not just he bring you stuff, teach you how to make pizza, and then bounce. You'll have a pizza party for 12, make our authentic, original, artisanal pizza, and now you have a pizza oven to do that with any given time. How fly is that?
Can I highlight one item? The Whataburger party and Whataburger for a year is only at $630 right now. And you get, 50 Whataburgers with cheese, 50 fries, 50 drinks, 50 brownies. And you're like, oh, that's just a one time. Oh, that's just one thing. Also, you get 52 coupons for a free Whataburger that you can use all year, branded pickleball set, a water bottle, a speaker, charger, and more. And the bid is only at $630. It's a $900 value. You can buy it outright for $1,800 right now. If I had the money, that would be the thing I would buy right now. That pays for itself. You're not even losing money right there. You would have free Whataburger for a year. Come on, guys.
And if you find yourself in a situation like Blake where you're like, I don't have the money to bid on some of this stuff, you can always just donate to My Possibilities if you want to help them out. They do fantastic work for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And they're local. And they're in the DFW area, I believe, in Plano. And so they do fantastic work locally. It's a cause that KNC has championed for 10 years plus. And so it's something that we at the Fan also champion. Right here, though, who or what are you sports thankful for? Truckwreck.com text line 877-881-1053. Blake, do you want me to give you first go? Who or what? It doesn't have to just be a person. Are you sports thankful for on this Thanksgiving Eve?
So I'm going to give two separate ones. And
please. Look, man, you can never be too thankful.
Okay, so I have to go 2011 Dirk Nowitzki and Jason Terry for doing that amazing championship run. That was my first championship in the DFW that I personally got to witness with my own eyes.
Good answer.
And that really dived me into sports. I was a sports fan and played it. But seeing that run when they swept the Lakers and set the record for most threes in a game, like, I don't know how you can be like, I want to be a pro basketball player when you saw that. So that made me so thankful.
And real quick, before you move forward,
go ahead.
And I'm not trying to clown you. I want to be clear. How old were you at that point?
So 2011, I was 12.
So that's a real formidable time, and formative, rather, is the word I was looking for. Formative time for you, because I can remember being 12 and like, I liked sports, but I wasn't like in sports like that. And so I can imagine that time being like, oh man, I need to know everything about this.
Yeah, I was on the fence and I saw that, and some of the games I went to, I was grateful that I was able to have tickets because of my parents, my mom, and then some games I was watching at sports bars and different events, and like that was just so iconic to my history of liking sports. And then of recent, I mean, it's just so hard not to be thankful of it. I honestly think of it every day. Corey Seager and Adolis Garcia and just taking over the postseason and being like, it wasn't just like one game that they had a good game. It was like the whole postseason. They had iconic moments every series. I mean, none more iconic than Corey Seager's 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth, and then Garcia walking it off later. Like, they make me happy to be a DFW sports fan, and we're not just a one-hit wonder. Like, that was an amazing postseason, and they're still under contract, so it just makes me happy to be a Rangers fan.
Absolutely. I mean, look, that I knew that was going to be the most evident answer, prevalent rather, on the text line from the 682. I still can't believe the Texas Rangers won the World Series. From the 817, the Rangers having a recent champion makes the Cowboys stuff hurt less somehow.
Yep.
Shout out to the 817, who even goes a little bit deeper, right? Because for the 510 said the Texas effing Rangers. 817 says, I'm sports thankful for Chris Young and Bochy. And of course, the whole team will always remember this run. Thank you, Tanner, for texting in. And I really do want to like focus in on Chris Young and Bruce Bochy. Chris Young in particular, like the aggressiveness that he showed from the general manager position.
Underrated.
It's incredible. Like, it set a tone for the organization. And yes, there be people that are quick to remind you. JD did, a lot of when you talk about some of the players that have come up and shown out, those players have been in place since before Chris Young took over like full reign of this organization. There are some players that absolutely came through because, John Daniels was at the helm. And so he absolutely contributed to this. However, it was very clear. I remember there was a night where we were doing this very program, and, when the Jacob deGrom news comes through, it was a very vivid memory for me, the feeling of, oh, they're for real about it.
Aggressive.
Right? And in a way that, I hate to say, there was a point in time where it was like, all right, cool, this is all cute or whatever, but I don't know how for real they are about this, how sincere and how serious this is. You went and you put the money on the table, and I guess that there's some credit needs to be given to Ray Davis and the rest of the ownership group for also like signing the check, because I imagine Chris Young would be like, hey, I would like to spend all this money, and they can be like, nah, dog, it's not coming out the wallet. But yes, that was another one. And then Bruce Bochy has just been a revelation as a manager. It's something incredible to see one of the greats when it comes to
in your city.
Yes. But I don't even know how to fully explain it. Like, one of the greats ever to do it. One of the dudes that's been, and I mean, like, you lost at his hands at one point in this situation, like in 2010. And so seeing him be here, seeing him steady the wheel with a team that a lot of people could have looked at him like, nah, man, there's too many holes. And because he was able to navigate that, the roller coaster that is, and we know he's able to navigate it, the roller coaster that is of emotions, I think that evened out a little bit, because we could always go, well, it's Bruce Bochy. We know he knows what he's doing. So maybe we're tripping, and we must have been, because he took you to your first franchise World Series championship.
Woo! Can't say that enough. Cannot say that enough. Reggie, who are you thankful for? Is that going to be yours too, or is yours different?
I kind of want to move it around, because we could talk about the Rangers a ton, but I do want to talk about other things. Right now, I'm sports thankful for Derek Lively.
Yes.
Derek Lively has come along so strong as a young cat. Like, it's really unfair, the things that like he's kind of expected to have to do right now for this Mavericks team. But he seems up to the challenge.
Yep.
And I think that even though you saw some really rough defense this past weekend with the Bucks and the Kings, the idea that you can even fix your mouth to have some complaints about this needs to be a little bit better, a lot better. I think the idea that you're even close enough to have some of those conversations is a testament to where he has been in just under like a month.
Yeah, 19 years old
of playing professional basketball. So really, really thankful for the way that he's played early on. Let's see. From the 817, they said they're thankful for Dak Prescott because he's a Super Bowl contender quarterback. I know that will get some blood boiling on this.
Do a whole segment on that.
Okay. Are there any Cowboys places that where you're thankful for as a Cowboys fan?
CeeDee Lamb proving all the haters wrong that he is a tier 1 receiver, because me and my friend Bruce debate it every single day. He tells me
is
DJ
Bruce Bochy?
No, a different Bruce.
I just wanted to
I wish I was friends with Boch.
Clarity, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You got to clarify that. He tells me DJ Moore is better than CeeDee Lamb year in and year out. And I'm like, CeeDee Lamb is him?
That's crazy talk.
But it's hard to have that conversation sometimes. And now it's like, it's not even really debatable. CeeDee Lamb's going for the top spot, let alone top 10. He's trying to show he's the best in the game week in and week out. So I'm thankful that he's putting up the stats. Because I've seen it, but now the people outside of Cowboys Arena are like, oh, he's pretty good.
It's undeniable.
It's undeniable that he's one of those guys now. So I'm thankful for him proving me right.
I think we all started seeing it in a big way. Like there was obviously the hints. That's the reason why you drafted him. That's the reason why you're excited about him. That's the reason why, well, I don't want to travel down that road, why you're comfortable with him becoming wide receiver 1. But midway through last season to the end of last season, you're like, okay, I think he's a wide receiver 1. Mm-hmm. I think it's become so undeniable that everyone around the league and around the nation sees it. On the Twitch chat, Swaggy Booty says, sports thankful for Tyron Smith looking like old Tyron.
Ooh, that's a good point.
And that's something that absolutely is the case. Also, sports thankful for Mike McCarthy realizing, hey, man, he don't need to practice. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Like let's just, he don't need to practice. It's cool. We will have him be out here and just stay healthy. And then because when we drop him on the field, this is a future Pro Bowler, or not future Pro Bowler, multi-time Pro Bowler, but a future Hall of Famer. And he has been out here delivering at left tackle. And I guess this is the instance where I need to knock on wood. I will find that in just a moment. He's been, largely healthy this year. And so that's been also helpful. Like you're in a place where he's staying healthy, and not only is he staying healthy, he's playing pretty damn well.
What about the Luka and Kai experiment really working? I mean, I'm not saying the Mavs as far as championship contenders. I'm just saying those two in a vacuum. Everyone was like, it's not going to work, and then we didn't make the play-in, and that was a popular topic. Is it going to work? And I think they've proven pretty early that they know how to work together. So I'm thankful that narrative has kind of died down as them two working as a duo, personally.
Yeah, I mean, the offense has come together, and yeah, I'm thankful for that because I think it took away the lazy narratives on the Mavs. Because obviously that trade was made, people are like, oh, that's going to blow up. And I'm like, there's always a possibility that a trade cannot work. But I think that some of that got real lazy at times. And again, like there's still opportunities for this to possibly fail. But right now you're seeing the ways in which it works. And there are definitely some big holes in it because you have two guards that are perimeter liabilities defensively. And you hope that they can give you the effort to make themselves perimeter right, like
just average.
Yeah, we're perimeter average. Give me something that's workable. But one thing that you cannot deny is that offensively, this thing is gangbusters.
Cooking.
How about this? And we probably should apologize for waiting this long. 214. Thanks for Michael Parsons, best defensive player to watch since DeMarcus Ware. This person says
Cowboys know how to draft.
Brother, hey man, shout out Will McClay and the scouting crew.
Every year we got a guy. Every year we got a guy to be excited about. Whether it's 1, 2, 3, like we always got an exciting rookie or second year guy that kind of comes along.
Thankful for the Stars doing the right thing, putting Mike Madonna statue out there like Dirk because he is the Stars. Dirk, shout out to 682 for that. Who someone also mentioned earlier, El Capitan, Mike Madonna. So look, man, shout out to Mike Madonna. It is nice to see the Stars get an appropriate amount of love when it comes to this because I know there's times where it feels like, oh, man, they're the also-rans. And this has been a very good team. I mean, look, man, your Final Four team last year. And there's been multiple times. I mean, they had the Stanley Cup final run just a few years ago. Like, this is a very good organization. And this is another good-looking team this season as well. And I love not just, being able to shower some love on the team, but also on the history and one of your DFW sports champions, the Dallas Stars.
I think I'm thankful just in a grand scheme that DFW sports is up right now. Like there's some metro centers that it's like, hey, we might have one good team, maybe no good teams. All 4, 5, 6, whatever you want to count. If you want to count the, we got the Wings. Like all of our teams are like competitive. None of our teams are a laughing stock. We all are pretty good. The Cowboys, I'm not saying all of them are going to win their respective championships. But, man, it just feels good that pretty much whatever league you talk about, we're pretty competitive in everything. So, it feels good to be a DFW native.
I like that. Look, you really getting into the spirit of thankfulness. I like that. How about this from the 214 and the 682? Thankful for Jerry Jones finally putting Jimmy Johnson in the ring on. Man, I think there's a lot, especially some of the older Cowboys fans, and no disrespect, I know, people hear the word old and they feel bad about it, but folks that are long-suffering Cowboys fans and that definitely have a real warm spot in their heart for those 90s Cowboys, Love them some Jimmy Johnson, rightfully so. This dude has been an incredible coach in this league. And I mean, all you have to go to is the How About Them Cowboys, like iconic when it comes to this fan base. And so it was really a travesty that he was not in this Ring of Honor for so long. And it's nice that this year it's finally getting remedied on December 30th before the clock ticks over.
Yep. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that pops into mind that I'm thankful for sports-wise.
Deron Bland, shout out to that man.
Blandy, because I mean, we could go on and on. Where Diggs is out, what are the Cowboys gonna do? All pro corner just pops out. I mean, he was great last year. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying no one outside of the Cowboys saw this coming. We got to be thankful for Al Harris always doing these corners right and getting them ready. Man, we could go on and on about what we're thankful for in DFW, baby.
Man, there's so many things to be sports thankful for. Keep those coming on the truckwreck.com text line. We'll keep trying to throw some of those out as it's the Get right here on 105.3 The Fan. Like I said, we got you till 11. However, don't forget, it's kind of a Peace-a-thon post-game show here on the Get Right this evening as we continue to direct you to 105throughthefan.com/Peace-a-thon, where the bidding continues. Even though the broadcast is over for those fellows, make sure that you go to 105throughthefan.com/Peace-a-thon. You can bid up till 11:59. Lots of great items there. I'll continue to direct you to some of the ones that I find interesting and Blake finds interesting as well. And then also you can always donate there as well to benefit my possibilities. But coming up next on the Get Right, we'll take you around the NFL on 105 Through the Fan.
Amazon's got the best deals on Black Friday. The best deals are on Cyber Monday. Friday comes first when it comes to saving. Monday's worth the wait for what you've been craving. Deals so good it'll feel like stealing. Real cool message, could you make it less appealing? What's with the beef? You can get that too. Why'd you call us? Triggering you. Whichever day you're shopping on, you'll save a bunch at Amazon on Black Friday.
This holiday season, spread a little extra cheer with BMW. For every new BMW bought in the month of November, we'll donate 200 meals to families in need through Feeding America. Over the last 6 years, BMW has proudly helped provide over 15 million meals to those in need, and with your help, that number will continue to grow. Visit your local BMW Center for details or visit bmwusa.com/drive-to-end-hunger today.
Take advantage of it.
disclaimer that the DUI was actually a result of prejudice against him. Why, you ask? For being rich and being white. He said, quote, "I am prejudiced against because I am rich. I'm a rich white billionaire." He went further to say, "If I'm just the average guy down the block, they're not pulling me in. Of course not." And I just find that to be,
how do you even attack that?
That feels like there was an episode of Ellen DeGeneres where she did like the Price is Right with Bill Gates, like a Price is Right type segment where it was just like seeing how in touch this billionaire was with like the rest of us. And she was like, "How much did this gallon of milk cost?" He was like, "I don't know, like $20. And it's just like, that's what I feel like. He's like, if I was just a regular guy, they would definitely not pull me over for having pills and $29,000 cash.
They would do more than pull you over.
Yeah, I was like, brother, you just don't live the same life as the rest of us, do you?
Yeah.
So yeah, Jim Irsay been out here really lashing out.
Yep. He's an interesting one. Yeah, you'd be behind bars, buddy. You wouldn't be able to make that statement. What do you do this time? Reg?
No, I mean, like this time it's just what brought this up was just him saying that in particular. He also, I don't even know if I want to get into the tweets. The tweets have just been something.
He's a wild one on Twitter
entirely. Yeah, man, that's one thing one thing you could say about Jim Irsay when it comes to the class of team owners in the NFL. He's one that does not give a bleep about what you think about him.
And that's interesting. When you're an owner, I feel like you kind of have to have this sense of like, I'm representing the entire team. He's on like his personal Twitter. I think he thinks he's on a burner account. He just lets it fly. Lets it ride.
I mean, no disrespect when I say this around the NFL, but speaking of someone who cannot let it fly, are you familiar with Drew Brees, rather?
Yes.
I said Derek as if I was going to say Derek Carr, who is the newest replacement for him in New Orleans.
First thing that comes to mind with Drew Brees is short.
Correct.
And Disney World, right? He was like, I'm taking my kid to Disney World, and that's what they say when they win the Super Bowl, right?
That's right.
He's like the first person that comes to my head.
Interesting.
Holding his little baby and like, we're going to Disney World. That's like the first memory that always comes to my head of Drew Brees.
Okay, very good. Well, I hate to kind of ruin the sports great memory because he is one of the great quarterbacks of that kind of era that we saw in, is kind of just past now that Tom Brady is no longer playing, now that Aaron Rodgers is pretty much finishing up his career, wrapping it up towards the end. Drew Brees, who's 44 now, made the revelation yesterday when asked on ESPN Radio. He said they asked him whether he had gotten any calls from teams trying to lure him out of retirement. As you know, you see some teams that maybe could use a quarterback. Maybe they're like, hey, let's see if we can get a veteran. He said he retired in 2021. He said there might have been a feeler or two. However, he went further to say this. Look, I'll let you in on a little fact. I don't throw with my right arm anymore. My right arm does not work. So when I throw in the backyard now, I throw left-handed. He went further to say I could play pickleball because it's below the waist, but anything above my shoulder, I have a hard time with. And this is the thing that's really stinks about football sometimes. It's like knowing the ways in which these dudes are not, when we say they're trading on their body, we mean it in a whole different way. Like these dudes are actively, that's what the money's for, but they are paying a hefty price when it comes to their health and wellness. And Drew Brees, and he threw a ton of yards, 15 seasons playing football, and apparently his right arm is pretty much cooked for it.
Yeah, well, left-handed Brees might be better than Zach Wilson. So.
Oh, wow. That's where you went with that? That's crazy. You were like, look, man, let me cross 3 lanes of traffic to go get this kid right here.
That was the first thing that came to my head. But no, in all seriousness, I feel for Drew. Like you said, they really put their body on the line. And you play for 10, 15 years if you're lucky like Drew did. And then it just makes life after football a whole different thing. We talked about it yesterday with the safety of the league and everybody wanting hard hits back and whatnot. But you don't like it if that's your dad or your brother or your uncle out there who can no longer throw the ball with his kids. So it is kind of sad to hear, like, let alone him trying out for NFL teams. There's probably a lot of things he can't do with his son. He probably wants to throw the football with his son and be active and throw a baseball. And he just can't because of how he gave his body to the Saints organization. So it is sad to hear, but glad to know he's still getting calls.
Well, I don't know that really does anything for him because it seems like he's very much out the game, and hopefully happily so. I know he's doing some broadcasting work, and hopefully that's something that he's comfortable and happy with not being able to do anymore. That's around the NFL right here on the Get Right on 105 through the Fan. I want to remind you again, 105throughthefan.com/peaceathon, as that auction is still going. A lot of great experiences, memorabilia, and other things available to be bid on still. And you can donate to benefit My Possibilities as well. Just straight up donate if that works better for you. Coming up next on the Get Right, there was an anonymous NFL player poll done by The Athletic. What do they have to say? What did the players let on? We'll discuss it next on 105 through the Fan.
Sports with lots of laughs mixed in. Sean and RJ, the KNC Masterpiece, G-Bag Nation, and the Get Right. Turn it on, leave it on. 105.3 The Fan and the Odyssey app.
Pro football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season, so he does two things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing,
2 things at once!
or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
2 things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dell's Black Friday event is their biggest sale of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. It's the perfect time to upgrade any home, business, or gaming setup powered by Intel Core processors. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of huge savings and free shipping. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
NFM Black Friday doorbusters start Friday at 8 a.m. only while they last. Shop doorbusters on electronics like TVs and third-generation AirPods, plus savings on popular vinyl records and kitchen gadgets. And don't miss incredible doorbusters on recliners and sofas, plus 30-month financing on furniture, flooring, and qualifying appliance, TV, and home audio brands. Only at NFM in Grandscape. Store closed Thanksgiving. Doorbusters limit 1 per customer while quantities last. Some exclusions apply. Minimum monthly payments required. 80% APR. See store for details.
All health insurance is not the same. At Aetna CVS Health, we're built differently. Our individual and family plans bring together the quality health coverage of Aetna and convenient local care options.
Where you sit down. Let us handle the insurance company and the headaches, while we also help you avoid the toothaches.
And with 3 locations in the Metroplex, there is sure to be one close to you. With the holidays coming, things get busy, so you're going to want to get your appointment soon. I know I already got mine.
Book online at kissabledental.com. That's kissabledental.com. Or you can call 972-779-KISS, 972-779-KISS. The Kissable journey starts today.
Your turn it on, leave it on. Home of America's team is 105.3 The Fan. Hello, baby. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Yes, indeed. It's the Get right here on your home of the Dallas Cowboys and World Series champion Texas Rangers, 105 through The Fan. Reginald Datatula alongside the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Shout out to Chris Strong on the ones and twos, and shout out to you for rocking with us on this Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I guess Wednesday also before Cowboys game day, as they'll be taking on the Washington Commanders tomorrow, 3:30, as you always expect on Thanksgiving, because it's a tradition. It's a tradition, maybe a tradition unlike any other. Sorry about it.
We lost last year on Thanksgiving, right?
No. You beat the Giants last
2
year.
years ago. I'm thinking 2 years ago against the Raiders. Yep.
Against the Raiders.
That was tough.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that are very happy that you reminded them of that.
That was so hard to watch in person.
I really do not believe that you'll have anything that looks similar.
Hopefully.
So yeah, that is sincerely very hopeful. I know that somebody on the truckwreck.com text line, or sorry, not the text line, on the YouTube, William Burney said, so are we going to sign Shaq Leonard or what? Now, one thing I can tell you is he did, Darius Shaquille Leonard did clear waivers today. And so now he is a free agent, able to sign anywhere. I know Adam Schefter, last time I checked, he had said that there's teams that are expected to have a level of interest, and that includes the Philadelphia Eagles and your Dallas Cowboys. I haven't seen anything further on that yet, but if we do see something, we'll let you know. And of course, there's no better place to keep locked in to try and hear news on that effort than 105 through The Fan. Obviously, Blake and Will be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. And then obviously Cowboys, broadcast will start tomorrow. The pregame starts at noon. Game starts at 3:30. I guarantee you, if anything breaks during that, those guys will have you covered. 105 through The Fan is the place to be if you're looking for Cowboys information.
At least we're in the top two. I mean, we cannot let the Eagles have them. That's the biggest thing.
I don't even know if that's like these are the top two teams. I think those are just notable teams that Schefter wanted to mention. I haven't seen like a full accounting of all the teams that would be interested in this. However, that's where it is thus far. We're just kind of waiting and seeing if that shows up. But as we continue on the Get Right, I did want to let you in on this Athletic Anonymous NFL player poll.
My favorite.
Yeah, The Athletic does these really interesting polls, whether it's with players, executives, GMs, what have you, sometimes with fans. And it really helps kind of get a poll and a beat on what some of the thoughts are of various different groups in and around sports. And in this instance, we're talking to NFL players here. And so they gave their input on, who they believe is the best player, the best trash talker, who might be the most annoying fans. And when it comes to the best player in the game today, Blake, I'll kind of quiz you on this.
Let's do it.
But don't feel bad or anything about it. Who do you believe that the players polled?
Patrick Mahomes.
Isn't like no
hesitation.
No hesitation whatsoever.
No, Patrick Mahomes. That's the easiest one that's probably going to be on this list. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, apparently it was easy for everybody else too. Like literally 40 of 84 responses, 46.4% of the players were like, yeah, no, Patrick Mahomes is him. Now,
who's in second?
This got interesting because second isn't an individual player. Like the second most answer is other. And I wonder if that's where like individual player ego goes. What you mean? I'm the best player.
Yep.
You know what I mean? However, the second most individual votes, would you like to guess?
Yeah, I'll guess. Offense, defense. Can you give me
defense player?
Ooh.
Common answer when we start talking about who is the best player.
Don't tell me he's still up there. Don't tell me the D tackle in LA is still up there.
Aaron Donald, 8.9% of the votes. Get that. Like think about that. 46% of the votes went to Patrick Mahomes. The next highest individual, Aaron Donald, 9% of the votes.
He's still great, don't get me wrong, but I do not think he's the best defensive player in the league in 2023. I think that's a little bit of like, well, the players voted. They know what they're talking about more than me. Don't get it twisted,
I also think there's just going to be a level of respect that's going to constantly go there until it's very apparent, it's not quite the same.
Is Micah on the list?
Not of the ones that I've seen, right? So here are the main ones. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes is 46.4%, Aaron Donald at 8.9%, Tyreek Hill at 7.7%.
I like it.
I think that there's a lot of respect for what he does. Myles Garrett at 7.1%, Arlington's own. Lamar Jackson comes in at 6%.
That's interesting. I agree. Just the players
ahead of Joe Burrow, 3.6%.
Okay.
So players have quite a bit of respect for Lamar Jackson. Nick Bosa, Jared Goff, Trent Williams all wrap this up at 2.4%. It seems like others who are that were voted on there: Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Javon Hargrave, Aaron Jones, Travis Kelce, Dexter
Aaron
Lawrence.
Jones.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just a teammate.
That was a wild random pick.
But unfortunately, Michael Parsons does not show up anywhere on anything that I can see.
So we got Aaron Jones, who I love, great dreads, draft him in fantasy every year, is better than Micah Parsons. I don't even know if he's the best player on his team. That's quite wild. But I will say, going back to kind of the top people you named, 3 of those players in the AFC North and most of those players in the AFC. So I guess the NFL, a lot of the talent is in the AFC right now.
Yeah, and I think that's how people felt coming into the season. It's one of the reasons why people were like, hey, Cowboys, get on it, right? The NFC seems a little bereft of talent. It seems like there's a vacuum that you can fill by stepping into your destiny in a way, stepping into your potential, and that should put you in a place where you have a real opportunity to contend for the NFC Championship game, which Cowboys fans have been clamoring for. And obviously, it's not just the NFC Championship game, it's the Super Bowl. But in order to get there, you have to make it to that championship game, which you haven't seen in a very, very long time for these Cowboys. How about as we move it along on the NFL player survey here? There were 71 responses here, and they were asked, who is the biggest trash talker?
So I'm thinking it's going to be a defensive player, obviously.
Great thought process, because it's always going to be those, right? Like,
gonna,
there's some offensive players that talk a little bit, but you never view them as trash talkers per se.
And it's either a linebacker or a DB. Darius Slay talks a good amount of trash. I don't know. I guess my guess, I'm going to just go Darius Slay. Who is it?
Funny enough, Darius Slay is not one of the major players here. Okay. However, somebody that he played in tandem with is. And
CJ?
The number one selection by players. Now, it's not to the Patrick Mahomes level. This is not it's unanimous isn't the right word, but this isn't so much widely viewed. CJ Gardner-Johnson garners 24.6% of the vote. He's now with the Detroit Lions. Obviously, he spent last year with the Eagles during the Super Bowl run. One player said, I think that's just kind of his shtick. I don't know if it necessarily works, but it's what he reverts to. So I thought that would be funny, where it was like, I don't even know how good he actually is, but he be talking a lot.
It's kind of hard because we're not on the field, so until you see like an NFL mic'd up, it's really the only time that fans and us journalists can see it. So I'm going to believe the players.
Or if there's like a guy who's real demonstrative.
Yeah.
Or maybe, if a player decides that they want to whoop his keister in the middle of the game. Shout out to Cortland Finnegan, right? You remember that time?
Great. Andre Johnson just ripped it off.
Other votes are, were second, but the second most individual player is a man who I've seen described as sassy, Jalen Ramsey.
Yep.
Like that.
I should have said it. That should have been the first thing that came to my head, because he's known for kind of like getting in people's faces, talking a little bit of jibber jabber, and it's got to be a DB. That comes with playing DB. You got to know how to talk trash, otherwise you're getting killed.
Now you say that, however, I looked at the next two, and the next two got the same amount of votes, and they're both pass rushers. When you talk about Brandon Graham and Jeffrey Simmons, and those are the ones that I never would know.
I would have said Max Crosby. I've seen him talk a lot of trash, and
he comes in sixth rather.
He's one of them. He's one of them white boys. That's one of them ones. If you see him, he is not your average. Like I would have put him high. You said Jonathan Simmons. I haven't personally heard
Jeffrey
of
Simmons.
Jeffrey Simmons. I haven't heard a peep from him.
Yeah, Brandon. And I don't think we're supposed to hear it. I think these are the trench guys. And like when you start getting in there and those guys are talking, we don't really know much about that. Yeah. However, I imagine they be talking cold cash. You know what? Yeah. In those places. Let's see. When going back to Jalen Ramsey, someone said of him, he has a lot to say, right? He has a lot to say. But yeah, outside of those guys, Marcus Peters came in next. DK Metcalf came in next, which I find interesting. And then there was a 5-pack of players. You mentioned Max Crosby, Stephon Diggs, Zaire Franklin, Matthew Judon.
Yep. Linebackers got to have a little something behind them.
And Dexter Lawrence. And so those were deemed the biggest trash talker.
Notice how it's no receivers.
DK Metcalf was in there.
Yeah, DK.
And it's interesting because that's something that people, I don't know. People view them as like divas or whatever, but it's kind of funny that it doesn't.
It depends.
Not a lot of those come
It depends what kind of trash talk we're talking. We have like the negative trash talk, like you're terrible, and then like I take Tyreek Hill as like a trash talker, but he's almost positive about it. He's like, you can't guard me, with like a smile on his face. So I don't know if we count that as trash talk or just like kind of boasting.
All right, so how about this? Which current coach, aside from your own, would you want to play for? First of all, 2 questions. Who do you believe is the number 1 answer? And do you believe that Mike McCarthy is involved here?
I'm going to say Mike McCarthy is not on here. I don't think he has the respect that he deserves around the league.
Okay.
I think if I had to guess who I would want to play for and who I think the players, it would be Dan Eat Your Kneecaps Campbell.
He comes in 3rd.
Okay.
So tell me what you hear when I list off these top 3 votes. The third highest votes third most votes went for Andy Reid at 10.4%.
Winner.
Second most went from Mike McDaniel at 14.6%.
Offensive skill mind. That's who you want to be around. If you're like a 7-on-7 guy, you're like, oh yeah, I want to go play for McDaniel. Spread the ball out.
The highest vote receiver of the 72 responses, Mike Tomlin.
Consistent. Players coach. Makes sense.
Right. And I found that interesting because I was going to go with, all right, dudes that are, have long time records of success, but Mike McDaniel doesn't fit in there. However, he just seems like he is a cool young dude that has some cutting edge offensive game planning and those types of things. And so the idea that he'd put you in a great place to succeed, I imagine, factors in there. And so when people were talking about Mike Tomlin, they said his messaging, leadership, and attitude seem consistent with the winning formula, which obviously you can see by him never having a losing season. And then another quote said he's tough and accountable and he demands that out of players. And that sounds like a vet for sure, right? Who's like, I want to be coached hard. And I know a lot of people say that. However, that necessarily doesn't show up. Now, this is a funny one because I'm not going to ask you to guess.
Wait. Going back to the last one.
Yes.
Who do you think could get on that list? You don't have to go on a long tangent. My personal one is DeMeco Ryans, first-year head coach. I think he'll be on that list pretty soon. Who would be the one you pick?
I think DeMeco's a great answer. I think that's a really good answer. Young guy who clearly knows what he's doing defensively and who,
speaks the language.
Yes. He's very much seems to be a dude cut from that player's claw. So I think that he would get a lot of love in that regard. I think that's a great call. Most underrated player. Let me tell you what the highest option was. Other. I imagine everybody was like, me.
Everyone's got to have a different answer
around here. Why does nobody love me as much as they need to? The highest individual is T. Higgins.
I mean, you can go any way around it. I mean, T. Higgins, you got to just look at wide receiver 2s pretty much around the league, like Brandon Cooks, Rashee Rice, anyone that's not a focal point. I mean, that one is just pick your poison. Who do you want to pick? But I think T. Higgins is a good shout. It might have been not the first one that came to my mind because I feel like he gets a good amount of pub. People respect him. He's drafted pretty high in fantasy.
What I do love is there's got to be a 9-way tie for the third individually. Yeah. And I'm like, what is that? People that got 2 votes, including Deron Bland, mind you.
Let's go.
But I do, obviously there's a ton of other folks that were filtered into others that got 1 vote. And somehow, some way, there were 2 players, Alex Highsmith and Tyler Smith, who received half a vote.
Oh.
And I don't know how that happens.
They said it and they wrote it down. They're like, shoot.
They're like, I can't
play
decide
against this guy next week. Never mind.
Yeah, I can't decide between Alex Highsmith and Tyler Smith. I'm gonna put both of their names in there. But there you go. A couple of Cowboys also getting some underrated props there, right?
Yep.
Final. Actually, let me get you a couple more. Best stadium to play in. What would you go for?
The SoFi. I feel like LA people would say that, or Arrowhead.
SoFi comes in 3rd.
Arrowhead and SoFi the first to come to my head.
Arrowhead is the one at the top, which I find to be kind of interesting. They say that place is electric. That's one of the coolest places to play, in my opinion, the loudest in the NFL. US Bank in Minnesota is the second one. Somebody said the place was effing loud. So it seems like just the amount of noise that you get comes in there.
Crowd participation.
I imagine that also factors in. AT&T Stadium comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th. Or sorry, tied for 7th.
I kind of would have thought higher, honestly.
However, you're glad that they're not on this one. Worst stadium to play in. What might you guess?
FedEx Field, right? That's where the Commies play.
That is where the Commandos play.
I feel like that has to be last. No,
I thought that would be the case too. It is not. It actually goes to MetLife Stadium. MetLife Stadium, the home of the New York Jets.
Because I have to watch the Giants.
Well, I wonder how much of this pops up, especially now when you see the Aaron Rodgers injury and the multitude of questions that people have about turf and the ways in which it's kind of harmed players' bodies.
It's like the worst turf in the league, right? Like players kind of tend to say that they just. And that makes sense. It's the players poll. This isn't
exactly,
like a media
exactly. So sometimes we
fans.
think about they ain't got no hot water,
Yeah.
like, and those things are definitely a problem. Don't get me wrong.
But playing on it, that makes sense.
Right. And so I thought that'd be interesting. How about this? What do you think is the most annoying fan base according to players?
I know what this answer is. I don't have to look at a poll. It's definitely the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys is like the most tricked on fan base. Y'all are annoying. Y'all swear y'all are winning every year. I mean, I see a new post about it every day. I think Cowboys have to be one. If they're not one, they're two. I can't even think of another one. Cowboys.
So here's the thing. You're right in that regard. However, I kind of want to ask this as a question. Are you offended by this thing that I'm about to tell you, or are you happy about this thing that I'm about to tell you? Because the most annoying fan base receiving 25.3% of the votes is actually the Philadelphia Eagles.
Woo, that makes me happy.
And then the Cowboys received 24.7% of the votes. So very close second. It was like y'all two together. However, they were like, the Eagles are a little bit more annoying.
Are we the only two like up there? Is everyone else?
That's right. Like Bill's a distant third.
Okay.
Very distant third.
And if you notice, all three of those have passionate fan bases. So you're going to have polarizing people love you or hate you. So I don't think it's a bad thing to have a quote unquote annoying fan bases, because you got to have a fan base to be annoying. And people are going to love you or hate you, just like the job we do. People are going to love you or hate you. So I don't really think that that's like a big deal. And I think you should take it as a compliment. I'll take it. We're up there because we have faith every year. We're going to win a Super Bowl in 1 year. We're going to be right. And that parade going to be crazy. Book it.
All right, some other ones just to leave you with before we go. I found this interesting. How would you rate the overall officiating in the NFL? They gave them a 1 through 10 scale. What number do you think would have gotten the most votes?
1 is bad.
1 is bad, 10 is good.
I would assume most players, especially defensive players, think that the officiating is horse. So I'm going to say most players said like a 2 or a 3.
Those are actually kind of low. It seems like most of the answers are congregated around the middle. The single highest answer is 5.
Yeah.
4, 5, 6, 7 is where a lot of the answers congregated. So they're like not atrocious, although there were a good amount of people who just put down 1 who were like, this is terrible. But like for the most part, it seems like a majority of the players think not atrocious, but not particularly good, which seems to be the way that like
depends what position you play.
Oh, that's also a good point. I had not considered that.
Like if you're like an O lineman who's had no calls on you and you're good at your job, you're probably like 10. You're doing awesome. But if you're a D lineman that gets held every play, you're probably like 1. Or a corner who keeps getting called for pass interference, probably like -1. So depends on what position you play.
I did appreciate some of the answers that we were given. Someone said they missed some calls, but it's a really hard job. And that's a player who rated an 8.
Agreed.
However, you bounced to a player who rated them before and said either they're missing obvious calls or they're calling everything. Speaking to something that I think people have a problem with, which is like there's not maybe consistency game to game. Although one thing I will say is for me personally, as long as you have some level of consistency throughout the individual game, I can be somewhat happy
100%.
knowing that it was called the same for both teams and throughout the course of the game. That's all you can really ask for is a neutral level playing field.
You couldn't have said it better. Because I was just going to ask you, would you rather a game where the refs let everything go and you're like, oh, my team didn't get that call, but they didn't also get it, or where they're calling every ticky-tack foul and technically maybe they're good and they're calling everything? And I think I'm on the same pace as you, Reggie. Like, if you're going to call it. If you're not. And I would rather be on the times where just, hey, let them play. Even if it's an egregious hold call, if you're not going to call it on both sides, I'm good with it.
All right, so that's kind of some of the stuff that we got from the Athletics Anonymous NFL Player Poll right here on 105.3 The Fan. It's the Get Right as it's a DFW Sports Night in the Metroplex. Obviously, we're gearing up for Cowboys Washington Commanders tomorrow on Thanksgiving at 3:30. However, your Dallas Stars are in action tonight, and they're currently down to the Vegas Golden Knights 1-0. I think there's about 5 minutes left in the first period there. And your Dallas Mavericks will tip off against the Lakers here in maybe about 10 minutes. And as we get into that, your Mavs are on an LA road trip. They get the Lakers tonight, and then Friday night they'll get the Clippers.
Clippies.
What are you excited to see from this team on this road trip? And where is your confidence level in this team right now? We'll discuss it next on The Fan.
Keep the volume turned up all day and night. And thanks for being a Tolo. We're DFW Sports Station 105.3 The Fan.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how?
Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals.
at the station probably. There's also a lot. Was it lot number 56? Which is 4 front row ringside tickets to WWE SmackDown. That's on there as well. There's all sorts of incredible things. Hey man, I don't know if you love jewelry or if you have a lady or someone else in your life that likes jewelry. There's some jewelry available there, so you can buy a little jewelry for a person in your life, and Christmas coming. Get something on there. There's various lots, I think anywhere from 76 all the way to 85 that are there with some, nice jewelry that you can get and also support a great cause at the same time. So go ahead and check it out. 1053thefan.com/peaceathon. That goes till 11:59 tonight. So the thing is still going. It's not over yet. You still have an opportunity to bid on all the fantastic things and help out my possibilities. One thing here in about 20 minutes, we'll have a little sharing time. But right now, we're gearing up for your Dallas Mavericks in Los Angeles.
LA.
Taking on tonight the Los Angeles Lakers. Friday, taking on the Clippers. It's an LA road trip for the Mavericks. Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Derrick Jones Jr., Grant Williams, Derek Lively. Your kind of typical starting five is the five tonight. What are you hoping to see against these two Los Angeles teams that are not the best, but not the worst in this interesting place in the middle? Obviously, you had a real test on the weekend with the Bucks and the Kings, two really good teams in this league. This is a little bit of a different situation for your Mavericks. What are you hoping to see? And then also, what's your confidence level now? Because obviously this team started off really hot, had a fantastic go of it to start, but they had a couple of tough losses. They're now 9-5. They're fourth in the Western Conference, which is still not bad. However, did that change how you feel about this team at all? Where are you now?
Well, I talked about this a little bit on Peaceathon when I was talking. Peaceathon. I was talking to Bassick. And if you heard earlier last week, I was pretty high on the Mavs, and I still am. But I think where we're at right now is just reality. The reality of this roster. I think we are a 9-5, fourth in the West kind of team. Based on how the roster is constructed right now. I think they've made the best. I don't want to say this roster is maxed out because Derek Lively is only going to get better. He's a rookie. He's only 12, 13, 14 games in. He's only going to get better. But I just think as far as defensive pieces, because offense hasn't been the problem since Luka's been on this team. That's not been the problem. Defense, getting back on defense, and then I guess you could say situational minutes have been the biggest problem. I think it's still a problem. And I think talking to people around the league, I don't think the Mavs are content with where their team is.
No, not at all.
So look for them to be aggressive at the trade deadline. I know that's a while from now, but from these two games, I'm expecting them to win. If they drop these games, then yes, my expectations and where I'm at will drop a lot, literally on these two games because they've had rest. The Lakers are on a back-to-back. The Lakers have been one of the more up and down, volatile teams. They win, they lose. For some reason, when they play in the in-season tournament, they're like the 96 Bulls. They're 4-0. They have, I think, a point differential of plus 50 or something.
You know what that might be? It's one of those things that I thought it would take a couple of years to kind of develop. But hey, man, the Lakers are one of those teams that are built like they want to win the championship, but I don't know that they're built to win the championship. And you know what you can win if you can't win the championship?
The in-season championship.
You can win an NBA Cup and hold that up like you did something. So I wonder if that kind of gives them some level of, boost in that regard. But you were saying.
It's just a weird spot for the Mavs because I'm not moved left or right. I just think we're kind of above average right now. I don't think we're the favorites to win the West. I don't think anyone's going out and saying that. And I don't think even the roster constructed how it is, we would be able to go deep in the playoffs. I think we are good first, second round team that can score and beat any team on any night. But we also can have our stinkers like we've seen where we're not as, I don't want to say it's a coaching thing, but we have these laps on the court. If you watch the games, Bassick was talking about it earlier, and I couldn't agree more. Grant Williams is a ball watcher, great defender.
He can be at times.
He can get a little lost, and when you have supposed to be the focal point of your defense, especially as far as guarding the better player on the other team, Luka and Kyrie being your backups as far as defense is not great. You need Grant Williams, Lively, and Derrick Jones Jr. to have their best defensive game every night to be competitive. We're going to put points in the bucket and score a lot. Don't get me wrong, but defensively and that second unit when Derek Lively comes off the court, we're the worst rated interior defensive team. So pace, 3-point shooting, Luka and Kyrie, not worried about. Defense, matching up against these teams with good bigs like we're going to see tonight with Anthony
Yes.
Davis, a little worrisome.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm really looking for. It's two things I'm really looking for right now in this Lakers game that's about to tip off today, or in just a few moments. One, you nailed, right? The idea of Anthony Davis, who is a big, who can be dominant. Sometimes he's not always dominant. I think that's the problem with him
Day-to-day
as a
Davis.
superstar type player. But when he does show up, he is a monster and really tough to deal with. So I'm interested in seeing how that shows up with a team that has some issues in the interior defensively in your Dallas Mavericks. So I'm interested to see how they handle that. Two, this is a Lakers team that is so offensively. They're currently ranked 22nd in offensive rating in the league, which is bottom third. I want to see to what extent the defensive woes are there. And obviously you've played other teams and you've been able to go up and down with them and, do what you need to do and have a decent defense. The Lakers are a team that have the star quality players that can, really elevate in those instances, but like the larger metrics kind of point you to the idea that, not the greatest. So I'm interested in seeing what almost like a stress test of where are the points in this defense that really have issues. And I think the Lakers will give you some of that. I want to turn you to this text, Blake, on the truckwreck.com text line from the 214. And it's a series of texts where they ask, if defense is the Mavs' problem, why don't they try Markieff Morris and Rashawn Holmes more? At least give them a shot. The defense isn't working anyways, and they say that the offense will be good with or without them on the floor. Why isn't Kid try them? What is your immediate reaction to that?
Well, the preseason and the offseason happens for a reason.
Okay.
And these guys, everyone gets a shot. These guys play a lot. They're trying to see. They already know Luka and Kyrie can play, so they're not worried about that. And they have these guys go out there, and they obviously didn't show enough in practice to give Kid confidence to put them out there. And it's also a comfortability thing. If you're wondering, like I was before I started going to Mavs games, why is Dwight Powell playing so many minutes? Luka likes having him out there. As much as fans and everyone may not like him in defense, Luka likes having him out there. And who's the most important Mav right now? Luka Doncic. He likes throwing lobs.
Really?
He loves
That's
him.
great. I thought it was Dante Exum.
He loves having him out there. And so I think those are the minutes that could go to a Rashawn Holmes. And we've seen in spurts him be all right. We've seen in spurts him being like, okay, I see why he doesn't play. But I'm all for giving him minutes. I wish I had some crazy answer of why he doesn't play and at least give him a shot and giving him some more minutes. But I think it's just a matchup thing. They like having Dwight Powell able to be able to switch onto guys. Because when you have a guy like Jackson Hayes tonight coming off the bench, who's going to match up with him? If you have Dwight Powell with him, Jackson Hayes is not like an all-star caliber center. I think he's still going to dominate Dwight Powell down low. And then on the other hand, the Morris brother, I think
Markieff is the one that we have, which I don't. Can I let
Go
you
ahead.
in? Sorry, I'm stopping you mid-way, but I don't think I've ever been able to tell you my theory on like when you get twins.
Yes,
is that there's always a good one.
And they switch, I think, all the time.
I don't know that they actually do, but they've also obscured it in their answers to the point where we can't definitively say that they don't.
Yes.
But like, I think it's very clear with the Morris brothers is, I mean, they've been in the league a long time. Marcus is the good one, right? Just like if we talk about
we can do brother duos all day long.
Right. What's my guy? The Martin twins.
Cody Martin and
Caleb Martin. Caleb's a good one. Caleb plays for the Heat.
And Cody's the big, right?
That's
Zellers. That's Zellers.
Those are the Zellers. And with the Zellers, those aren't twins, but I feel like
they're both mid.
Like, all right, so let's start the Lopez's. Brooke is the good one.
Yeah. Robin's still a good NBA player though, and an enforcer down low, but yes, Brooke is the good one.
Right, and so that's my theory. And
LaMelo, Lonzo.
LaMelo's a good one.
Yes.
He's the less injured one at the very least. But yeah, Markieff unfortunately isn't the good one.
I think it's just, and it's also age. Like,
sure,
there's a certain point where he wasn't brought in to be like in the 7-8 man rotation. He is the guy that when you clear the bench, that knows what he's doing as a veteran, good enforcer, defender. But I mean, I think we could see him in some minutes. Like, if Dwight Powell struggles all season, I do not think Kid is just going to keep throwing him out there and having him struggle. I think there will be instances where we see Rashawn Holmes and Morris come up. But shout out to the fan texter. I mean, that's a great point. I would love to see both of them at least get some important minutes every once in a while so we can really see.
Oh man, now they're bringing up the Charlos. Okay, I don't know how far I want to go in this one, especially not with the Charlos. I don't want nobody coming to see me. No, I think with the Markieff one, you're right. He's just not a rotation player at this point in his career. I am interested in Rashard Holmes because Holmes is he plays a little bit smaller than he is. Like, he's listed at 6'10", but I've also seen him kind of listed like 6'8", 6'9".
Yep, I have.
And so, like, he kind of sometimes seems like he's a little smaller than kind of that size that you think that you're getting as a center. And also, he's never been a defensive center himself either. Now, maybe it plays a little bit different, but I do kind of combat the idea that, well, the offense is going to be fine regardless. The offense is going to be good regardless. What level of good is it going to be? Because you do need somebody who's going to spot up or be able to pick and roll with Luka Doncic if we're talking about either wing or center. And when it comes to center, being able to pick and roll still matters. And one thing about Dwight Powell, and look, this is where people, Mavs fans have gotten really mad at Dwight Powell, and I don't know that you should be mad at him in particular. You look at the efficiency and the numbers, and I know our friend Bobby Carella at Mavs.com will tell you this. The efficiency with him in the pick and roll with Luka is astounding. It's astronomical. And so when he's in that pick and roll, they have a certain level of chemistry. They have a certain level of rapport that Rashawn Holmes is not going to have right now. Now, of course, you could say, well, it takes time to develop that. I just don't know that
you don't got time.
I don't know that they're willing to take that time, and I don't know that you're getting better at defense either there. So I think I'd be interested in maybe seeing some more minutes from him, filtered in with this team. But I think that those are all kind of small time possibilities. I don't even know that those are high possibility that those would even help you.
Those aren't needle movers.
Answers.
Those
right,
are just
exactly.
like maybe we score 1 or 2 points and stop them from scoring 1 or 2 points a game. But those aren't you need the guys in the rotation currently to step more up, and that's from the guys the likes of Josh Green and Derrick Jones Jr. and Grant Williams playing a little bit better defense. Like Kyrie, Luka, and Derek Lively, that three really isn't the issue. It's what happens when they're not on the court, when they don't have the ball in their hands, when the defenders are going against them on offense. So there's bigger issues to tackle, and I don't think it's Rashawn Holmes and Morris.
Yeah, and honestly, the players, the type of players that's going to be necessary to fix this this defense rather, are not going to be players that are rotation guys necessarily. It's going to be guys that are going to be consistent. And when I say I mean like back of the rotation guys to be complete, forthcoming. It's going to be guys that are constantly in the rotation, top 6, 7 guys. And as of right now, those types of players are not on this roster, unfortunately. And so they're going to need to pull together a little bit better. And maybe the best case of doing this with the guys on your roster is something maybe akin to what you saw in the Western Conference Finals run, where everybody is working in tandem and doing their job to the highest possible ability. And not just doing their own jobs, but having all their jobs fit in like a puzzle to the rest of the people doing their jobs. Understanding that the natural defensive ability isn't super high on this team. So what you don't have an ability, you have to make up in perfect and flawless execution. And at this point, you're not doing that.
You see it, and like early in the season, you saw the effort. First couple of games, I was like, wow, this is something that we could be seeing. And then it kind of goes back to the median of like, okay, this is where this team is going to be. And I think that's kind of where we're at, where we're like, not great on defense, not like the worst every single night. They'll have their moments. Great, excellent on offense, but we're just kind of a below average defensive team.
But just like anything, right? It's easy to have maximum effort at the start. Things are going to come along. You're going to have back-to-backs. You're going to have road games. You're going to have all these things, and those are going to chip away. And are you going to be able to sustain and travail through those things? And so that's what you're working through right now, and it'll continue on this LA road trip that tips off here just shortly at Crypto.com Arena as your Dallas Mavericks will take on the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll keep you up to date as far as we can as we take you up to 11 p.m. right here on the Get Right on 105 through the Fan on this Peace-a-thon Wednesday. Woo! Remember, Peace-a-thon auction still in effect till 11:59 this night. 105throughthefan.com/peaceathon is the website to either bid on auction items or donate. That'll keep going. I'll keep reminding you as we go through the night. Coming up next, we'll have a little sharing time on the Get Right on 105 through the Fan.
The pros you see playing sports make sure they have all the tools they need to play at an incredible level. Let Soda give you the tools you need to let go of the weight and become healthy and feel 20 years younger. Because when it comes to weight loss that lasts, Soda Weight Loss has the absolute playbook to success, just like the pros. But the good news is you don't have to be a pro. Soda is accessible to anyone and everyone, just like John.
Well, my diabetes A1C was
Okay. Do you have more popular names? Because I'm kind of interested now.
Yeah, I got you. Most popular names, James is at number 2.
Okay, these are the classics. Okay.
Oliver.
Yeah, see, Oliver is one. Did Oliver go out of style, or does it feel like that's coming back around, or am I just putting too much weight on like the Oliver twist? Do you feel like there was Olivers? Like, do you feel like there's a 25-year-old Oliver right now and a 35-year-old Oliver right now?
Wow, they actually have the number. It says popular names for births from 1923 to 2023. Number 1 is James. Number 2 is Robert. 4 million people are named that.
Yeah, that's just weird. Those are the classics, man.
John.
Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
I'm on this list. David. It's my first name, if you didn't know. William.
Yeah, these are just the classics then. Okay. So the classics stay classics. I guess they're classics for a reason, right? From the 214, they said, get right, my choice for worst baby name. Poindexter for the baby boy. Zelda for the girl. I bet Zelda's fire. I bet Zelda's a lot more common than we probably give it credit for.
What do you think the most popular girl name is? Don't overthink it.
Is it like Abby?
Abby's not even in the top 10.
Okay.
It's Mary.
Yeah. Okay, so these are just the classics.
Patricia's number 2. That threw me off.
Are these baby names, or are these just names general?
Well, I guess wouldn't that be the same?
No, not necessarily, because baby names would just be names that names that were given to babies this year, as opposed to like names in general, which would be of the population. So that's, I mean,
they could be before this.
Exactly.
It says 1923 to 2023 popular names for birth.
Okay, but I think that let's see.
Linda comes in at 4.
Yeah, see, you're not telling me everybody's naming babies Linda nowadays. Don't tell me that.
They got to be named at birth. You can't change your name. I mean, you can.
Don't tell me that people are naming the babies Linda in the year of our Lord 2023.
And see, that's my point I'm trying to make. Is Linda is a fine like businesswoman name. That's the first.
What?
That's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's like she's got a suit on. And that's Linda over there.
Power suit, in fact.
Power suit. But
that's
like,
right.
Can you imagine walking into a baby shower and like, oh, that's Linda, and it's like an infant? That doesn't make sense. We have to give names. Do you babyfy?
No, I think you're going down the right path. Go ahead.
Do you babyfy every name that are like that sound more mature, like a Robert? You can't be like, oh, that's Robert over there. He sounds 45 and like already been through 2 marriages.
Okay.
You know? Little Robbie, little Patrish, little Susan.
I think also what makes it different when we talk about the classics, who the 469 know, the classic names are mostly biblical names. Yep. I think also some of the things that make different names kind of home to different time periods is also like the ways in which we shorten them. Yes. Right? There's a lot of Williams, but how many people are Bill? How many people are Will? You know what I mean? There's a lot of Roberts. How many people are Rob? How many people are Bob? How many people are Bobby? How many people are Robbie?
Rob's a great name. I think you just sound swaggy. Like, my name is Robert, but I go by Rob. You're built different.
Why'd you say it like that?
Rob.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody enunciate the B that strong.
You got to. I got a friend named Rob, so I'm a little biased.
Okay. All right. From the A17 house, Patricia number 2.
Patricia's number 2 with 1 million.
God help me, I have no idea, my boy.
Mary has 3 million, and the next is, I'm just reading this list: Patricia, Jennifer, Linda, Elizabeth, Barbara.
Yeah, no way. Ain't no way. I'm calling shenanigans. Ain't no way we naming we're not still rolling out the Barbara. Like, if you told me in 1990 we were rolling out the Barbaras, I'd be like, all right, cool.
Barbara's insane. Sorry if there's any Barbaras listening, but it's a unique name. I wouldn't say it's
I don't even think it's a bad name. I just don't know that that's the name that people are giving to their children right now. I think that we might have found the wrong list.
I will say Karen is at number 10. And I think that's going to keep going down just because of the negative connotation with that name. Karen is at number 10 with right under 1 million.
I will defeat you on Twitch says Linda is big in Hispanic communities.
There you go.
Interesting. Shout out to our brothers and sisters in Latinidad. Shout out to y'all. I still like modern baby names. I don't know.
Donald at 16.
But hey, man, I don't know things. It'd be like that.
Timothy's 25. I can see Timothy. I don't know very many Timothys though.
I know some Timothys. Now
they go by Timothy. Full on.
I feel like Timothy is more popular nowadays, as opposed to like Tim. From the 972, hey, I'm a Robert and I have 2 marriages. I'm 47. Shout out to Robert.
Let's go, Robert.
Someone said Barbie is the short version of Barbara. Yeah, I think that's where Barbie came from. Like the toy was named after a Barbara. Somebody from the A17, I think this list is from the 90s. I agree. I agree. I think
it says November 14th.
Although, sometimes names can come from like modern pop culture. Because I remember there was like a year where Arya really popped up as a name, when the Game of Thrones threads. And from the 904, they said, don't ever underestimate the power of the Barbie movie. I could see that. Maybe, a lot of Barbies being born.
I looked up another list, and this one has Olivia, Emma, Charlotte, and Amelia as the top.
That sounds a lot more modern.
This is 2024.
That sounds a lot. How did they get that? Yeah, wait. What's happening there?
Top 1,000 baby names of 2024.
Who is the time traveler that came back and told us what the names are?
We got to watch this guy. The guys go similar: Liam, Noah, Oliver, James. So the girls have some fluctuation, but guys seem to not be as creative.
Yeah, they're not giving us creative names out here, man. They're not looking out for us. They're like, you. And you know what? Some of that might be also guys are more inclined to be named after their dad, like juniors and stuff. So maybe some of those names that are a little bit
I'll end
more.
on this and I'll let you go.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most popular name in 2023? The baby was named this the most out of anything. It's not any of the ones I've said. It's a completely new name. Just think trendy.
Trendy name? Oh, gosh. I have no idea.
3 letters.
Poe. I don't know. That was an awful guess, but that's right.
From Comic Book Panda, it's Kai. K-A-I. Was the most
yeah.
popular name this year.
Yeah. Also, any list that does not have Jalen and Jaden, I know it's not modern because there's so many of those.
That's number 3. Jalen is number 3.
Okay, I was like, there's so many Jalen's and Jadens. I cannot breathe. I'm
got
drowning in Jalen's and Jadens around here.
That's all I got for names today, Reg.
Appreciate you. I realized that you said it was dumb. We ended up spending the whole segment talking about it. There you go. That's our sharing time right here on the Get Right on 105 through the Fan. Coming up next, let's get into some headlines on this Wednesday evening right here on the Get Right on 105 through the Fan.
Thanks to our Tolos. Those are our listeners who turn it on, leave it on. We're here for you all day on 105.3 The Fan and on our Odyssey app.
Pro football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season. So he does 2 things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing.
2 things at once!
Or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
2 things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dell's Black Friday event is their biggest sale of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. It's the perfect time to upgrade any home, business, or gaming setup powered by Intel Core processors. Shop now at Dell.com/deals to take advantage of huge savings and free shipping. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals are happening right now at Diamonds Direct. The last and largest store-wide sale of the year is in full swing with an extra 20% off virtually everything. That's in addition to Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable price. Check out our expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets. Get the year's best price and ask about special financing too. Engagement rings, designer jewelry, diamond classics, all on sale. Get all the details and special holiday hours now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Football and Miller Lite, America's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff, tailgates going way past postgame. You never forget the way some things taste. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hear from Inside the Star, the Cowboys Report, Monday through Friday at 9:20 a.m. and 12:20 p.m. Brought to you by Papa John's, the official pizza of the Dallas Cowboys.
Shop Black Friday every day and get the best new deals all month long only at Lowe's. Right now, buy 1 DeWalt 20-volt max 4-tool combo kit. Get 2 select tools free. That's up to a $438 value. Plus, get up to 50% off select vanities, faucets, and shower heads. Shop in-store and online today because Lowe's knows deals. Valid through 11/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Ever wonder why you never see or hear a price on replacement windows?
What does the competition have to hide?
At Best Buy Windows and Siding, we offer transparent pricing, like our Best Value 10 single-hung windows for $54.50 with free installation and a lifetime warranty at no extra charge.
Transparent pricing.
10 custom windows for $54.50. Call 972-200-4485. That's 972-200-4485. Or visit us at bestbuywindowsandsiding.com.
Best Buy Windows
around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
NFM Black Friday doorbusters start Friday at 8 a.m. only while they last. Shop doorbusters on electronics like TVs and third-generation AirPods, plus savings on popular vinyl records and kitchen gadgets. And don't miss incredible doorbusters on recliners and sofas, plus 30-month financing on furniture, flooring, and qualifying appliance, TV, and home audio brands. Only at NFM in Grandscape. Store closed Thanksgiving. Doorbusters limit 1 per customer while quantities last. Some exclusions apply. Minimum monthly payments required. 80% APR. See store for details.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
From our fan studios secured by DFWsecurity.com, it's time for the Get Right on 105.3 The Fan.
Yes, indeed. It is the Get right here on your home of the Texas Rangers, who won the World Series, and the Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Datatula alongside the Fan Phenom winner, Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Appreciate you rocking with us here on this Wednesday evening. You can always get involved with the program by texting in to the truckwreck.com text line, 877-881-1053. Or you can check us out on 105 by visiting 105 Through the Fan on YouTube. Shout out to Jeremy, to Loki, to Quan, all out there. And on twitch.tv/DallasFanCam. Again, shout out to Opie, Swaggy, Imperial Age, and all y'all. We thank y'all for rocking with us and riding with us on this Thanksgiving Eve, and also this Peace-a-thon Wednesday. Always wanted to, one shout out the guys of the KNC Masterpiece for another successful Peace-a-thon that is over in broadcast as they went from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Here on 105 Through the Fan. However, the auction still goes, right? There's still an opportunity to raise money. The money totals are not final, as there's a lot of there's a lot of things to bid on. There's a lot of items still available, and even items that have not even received a single solitary bid yet. So I go to 105throughthefan.com/peaceathon for an opportunity to kind of check out some of those things. The bidding goes for another couple of hours. 11:59 p.m. is when the bidding will end. And so make sure you check on, if you have a bid, make sure you check on if there's bids there that maybe have overtaken you. And then also check on some of the more items out there. There's incredible stuff on the site. Like there's a couple of Dirk autographed signature shoes. There's a Cowboy suite package for a preseason game where you will have a catered suite for $26, and it includes a full size and signed Trayvon Diggs helmet. There's a pizza party package that comes with the pizza oven. So you get a pizza oven, you get a chef that will teach you how to make artisanal pizza for you, for 12 people. There's an Errol Spence glove on there.
Ooh, he's a good boxer.
Absolutely. DFW's own son, Errol Spence Jr. That's lot number 7. There's a Kobe jersey. There's actually there's a taxidermy squirrel in there. All sorts of fun different things. There's a My Possibilities custom Air Force Ones that were made for the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats initiative. There's all sorts of great things in there. So make sure you go and check out 105throughthefan.com/Peaceathon. Is there anything that you've seen that you're like, man, I'm kind of interested in this?
Okay, so I got 3 things. 1, Whataburger party, sweet. You get to also, if you're like, man, Blake don't know what he's talking about, I could do better. Well, here's your chance. You have a chance to be with the KNC Masterpiece for a day and be in studio. You get to talk. I think you get to talk, mate.
I believe so.
Okay, I was like, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, you get to be a part of the show for a day.
You get to be a part of the show. There's 2 different ones. I believe one is at a little over 1,000. The other one's a little over 2,000. So if that's something you want to do, make a bid. You got a couple more hours to do that. Second, shout out Swaggy Booties. When I was looking at the chat, said Blake is giddy, like he drank a C4 and he's going to explode after the show. I actually did not have an energy drink yesterday nor today, and I did not explode. But shout out to you for noticing. And then third, I know we were talking about Rashawn Holmes in the last topic.
Yes.
He just got a block. met Rui Hachimura.
There you go. The defense is fixed.
He is here. Rashawn Holmes has fixed the Mavs.
Starting center. Well, okay, we might be going.
But hey, he's at least getting some playing time in the first quarter, already making an impact. So shout out to the fan texter who noticed that. He's listening to the fan text. Keep it coming in. We sent it right to Kid. He put him in, and he made an impact. So I just had to get that out.
Let's get you some headlines on this Thanksgiving Eve on the Get Right. And yes, for those of you that have been waiting, remember Shaquille Leonard was placed on waivers yesterday rather. And the reporting was, hey man, there's a lot of money on that contract that clearly the Colts didn't want to pay and no other team is really going to jump up to sign up for. So he's going to clear waivers. And yes, that did indeed happen today. He has cleared waivers. And so now apparently the Cowboys are interested in his release, or interested in him after his release. It was reported by CBS Sports. I know that the Eagles were also mentioned as a team that could have some interest in Shaquille Leonard. No news has been made official on him just yet, but he is now a free agent able to sign at his earliest convenience, I guess, whenever he's ready to. Your Dallas Stars are in action right now. They're taking on the Vegas Golden Knights at the AAC. They're currently down 1-0. They do almost double up the Vegas Knights in shots on goal right now, 19-10. About more than halfway into the second period. So you imagine that they keep getting shots on goal. Hopefully they'll get good shots on goal and have an opportunity to, put one in the back of the net. Also in action, your Dallas Mavericks against the Lakers in Los Angeles at Crypto.com Arena. 29-25 is the score in favor of the Mavericks. I know Blake was just mentioning how Rashawn Holmes has not only gotten early playing time or any playing time at all, which I mean has kind of been rare for him of late for the Mavericks, but also he has found a way to get a block. No points for him just yet, but your leaders in that one, Kyrie Irving with 7 points, Luka Doncic with 6 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. It's really early. They barely just started the second quarter.
He's about to score. He's going to the free throw line.
He is going to the free throw line, Rashawn Holmes. So it's early, but we'll give you updates on what's happening there as the night continues. Now, you brought this to my attention, Blake, and this is something that you said is kind of blowing up NBA Twitter.
Yep.
Or NBA X, if you choose to view it that way in the official capacity. However, this is a game, and do you remember who was playing in this contest? It's the San Antonio Spurs, and it is a home game, and I know that for a very particular reason, but do you know how their opponent is?
Clippers.
Okay, they're facing off against the Los Angeles Clippers, who will be your Mavs opponent on Friday. And oh yes, it was the Clippers because this involves Kawhi Leonard. Thank you for reminding me. Kawhi Leonard was going to the free throw line to shoot free throws.
Insane.
And Kawhi Leonard has a rich history in San Antonio. Obviously, he was a Finals MVP for them. They won a championship with him on the team. But at the same time, they were really wanting him to remain there, and he felt like he was not getting the right medical advice when he was there. He seemed to lose some trust with the organization, ultimately wanted to, leave that organization and did, right? They traded him to the Raptors. He ultimately won another championship there. And so I guess I had never considered the idea of the bad blood that could be there in San Antonio. Well, the Clippers, as I mentioned, are playing in San Antonio tonight, and it seemed like there was some booing happening as Kawhi Leonard stepped up to the line, which I guess is not too unusual for a visiting star, but it felt a little different, and I guess Greg Popovich was not taking kindly to that because he reached over in something that I don't think I've ever seen before, reached over and grabbed the mic and did this in the middle of a game.
Excuse me for a second.
Pops on the mic.
Stop all the booing and let these guys play. It's got no class. It's not who we are. Knock off the booing.
And right after, if you're like, wow, Pop said it and they stopped booing, they booed even louder after Pop did that. And that is just like, I don't even really have words or really know how to feel. It's just like insane that mid free throw, this wasn't a timeout. Kawhi is dribbling the ball at the free throw line and Pop decides to stop what he's doing, grab the PA mic and make an announcement. And the Spurs fans did not care. They kept booing and they still are booing as we speak.
Greg Popovich went full vice principal on them.
Yeah.
Like he was like, hey, settle down. That's not what we do here.
And those fans are rowdy. They got beer. They paid for their tickets. And that almost riles you up more. Oh, you're going to tell me what I can't do when I pay for this ticket? I'm going to let you really have it now. So just an interesting development. I mean, not much to it other than it's wild, but we'll see if it affects his play.
Yeah, I was just amazed that one. I mean, can you remember in any time in the middle of a game, outside of like one of the stoppages of play, when something major happens that the league is wanting to like be able to commemorate and really celebrate? Like obviously LeBron James is the recent thing I remember, where they stopped the game once he surpassed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the leading scorer in NBA history. They'd stopped and they, were able to give him his applause and everything. I can't remember another time where they've stopped in the middle of a game.
Well, they didn't stop. I mean, it was still going.
Well, that's true. The game didn't even stop, but he was just like, I would like to grab a mic.
That's when you know you got power. I don't think he asked anybody. He walked up to the scorer's table, said, hey, I own this arena. I'm going to start talking.
Which, he does.
That's just crazy that he did that mid-free throw. Like, didn't do it during the timeout. That's how I guess you run the place, when you can just grab the mic and say, hey, what I got to say is more important than everyone else. And Spurs fans did not care. Kept going.
Elsewhere around sports, we talked about Jim Irsay, who went a little wild on Twitter earlier today in a developing beef with First Take and Stephen A. Smith, because obviously it started with Jim Irsay doing Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel, in which he claimed that his arrest in 2014 for DUI was a prejudice one, because there's prejudice against him being a rich white billionaire.
Aww. Womp, womp, womp.
I imagine that did not sit well with Stephen A. Smith at First Take. In fact, this was a Mad Dog day on First Take, and so Mad Dog got in there to talk about, I don't even view him as a serious person, in essence. That is a paraphrasing by me.
Yep.
But Mad Dog, wholesale just said, I don't even think about Jim Irsay. Jim Irsay got to Twitter fingers, and I just am still amazed that a NFL team owner would react in such a way, but I guess Jim Irsay is a wild card.
Call him Spider-Man because all his shooting on the web. Shout out to Drake. Yeah, I mean, NFL owners on Twitter is just kind of wild. I think you got to have an SEO, PR, personal relations team that's like, hey, let's not say this. He's like, no, I'm letting it rip. Get you a burner, Irsay. Like it's an easy fix. Just get a burner, let it get all out. You're fine.
I don't know if a burner is actually a better way. I feel like putting your name on it is probably better.
The best.
If you do have a burner and it comes out, it makes it look even worse. This is one of a torrid, I guess, rant or what have you, stream rather, of tweets that he sent earlier today, or posts on X, Jim Irsay, and this is from 3 p.m. earlier today. He said, First Take, you're going to get your ass sued because there was no alcohol, no illegal drugs. $29,000 is low for me to be carrying in 2014 arrest. I give away $2,000 to $10,000 to the homeless and needed on the street all the time and pass it on, making the world better. Heart emoji. I just love that he went like full defensiveness on the internet in a way that was just like, don't rich people typically just litigate? Like, don't they just sue you like straight up? The idea that he got on Twitter and said you're going to get sued and then started defending himself. He was like, nah, I carry around $29,000 all the time. I just be giving it away.
29,000, bow, wow. No, that's insane. Yeah, you got to just be like, hey, I'm the bigger person. I'm an NFL owner. I don't need to respond. He goes, no, we're going to go band for band, bar for bar. I'm going to let you know I got it like that. Insane.
I do love that he was just like, just letting everybody know I carry more than $29,000 at any given point. Like, I imagine if somebody wanted to rob him, they probably already knew that he had some money, but that's a wild thing to say. All right, elsewhere in at least the NFL, you remember we talked yesterday about how Matt Canada was fired by Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, one of the people that is, mainly affected by that is Kenny Pickett. We talked about how he's, a quarterback that has a lot to prove, as he hasn't looked very good this year. And I mean, I imagine as an organization, you have to consider, is this guy the right guy to be your quarterback going forward? Where he talked about the moving on from Matt Canada, and he said, quote, I wasn't aware of any moves that were going to be made. You hate to see it. You don't want to see one of your coaches lose their job. We all got to be better. I called Coach Canada, wished him well. We had a great conversation, but you bounce back quick and get ready to go. And so he went further to say, it's a challenge to everybody. I feel like you have to take it personal. It's a guy you've worked with since I got drafted here. You want to play great. You don't want to see anyone get let go like that. So absolutely, we have to answer the bell, find out what we need to do to play better, and then just go take care of business.
What do you think that conversation's like, that phone call? Because, like, in a sense, obviously they're not going to say it on the phone call. You kind of got him fired. Like, if you play at an MVP level, your OC's not getting fired, really doesn't matter how bad you are. So, like, where do you think it's like, hey, do you think he's taking accountability? Like, hey, this is kind of this is kind of my fault, I feel for, or do you think he's like, it's all good in the hood and hope you're good and kind of surface level?
Yeah, I imagine you're not just going to, the dude that got fired, you going, hey man, my bad, is not really going to make it feel any better. The job's not coming back, and I don't know if that does anything for him. But I imagine it's just like, those are dudes that have worked together for a few years at this point, and I imagine that there's a pretty good sentiment between them. So I imagine he was just like, hey man, heard the news, sorry that this happened. I don't know exactly what the conversation is, but I imagine it was just kind of like a personal one, just, making sure that he's good, I guess. Now, Kenny Pickett, this is tough for him because this has changed now. And we talk about how, sometimes with quarterbacks, rather, different offensive coordinators, learning different languages. And I imagine the language of the team is not going to change, but the play calling is going to be different. I'm interested to see how this affects him and his play going forward, because it was obvious that Matt Canada was not a good offensive coordinator. But is that change going to be something that he can, adjust to quickly in the middle of a season?
What if we just see Kenny Pickett absolutely tear it up in the second half of the year? That would make Matt Canada trying to get a job impossible. I don't think it's going to happen, but hey, crazier things have happened. We've seen Pop grab the mic mid-game. So Kenny Pickett breakout season, second half. I'm here for it. Let's see what you got, Pick'ems.
So a texter on the truckwreck.com text line reminded me, and they said from the 469, I remember when Sam Weish got the PA mic and told the crowd in Cincinnati to stop throwing snowballs. Quit throwing snowballs. You're from Cincinnati, not Cleveland, he said.
Oh, okay.
This is from 1989.
Okay.
Which is before both of us were born.
Yep, so I was not even a thought at that time.
I would like you to feel a little bit better. December 10th, 1989 it was. And yes, he did, in fact, grab a microphone and speak to the entirety of the crowd, and also threw a diss at Cleveland, which... Shout out to what's the right word? Warring or different cities in the same state. I imagine that you could see somebody do something like that towards Houston here. If somebody was like throwing trash at a game or something. Hey, don't do that. We're not Houston.
I like that. That's a good way to do it, because you're telling your friends to calm down and letting them know, don't go as low as that other place over there.
Be better than them jokers over there.
I want to know from the text line if there's another instance where anyone has grabbed a PA mic mid-game and then done a public address, because I like that other snowball one, but I just feel like this is so rare. Like, this isn't at halftime. This isn't during a timeout. This is mid-game.
Well, Opie World does remember, and you're right in this. Didn't Doc Rivers grab the mic to recognize Dirk in his last game versus the Clippers? I think yes, but I also think that there was kind of a pause to acknowledge some of that. But that's. I guess it was just odd to see, if nothing else, right? Even if there are some things that we could probably point to, they're like, oh, that's somewhat similar. It just was odd to see him scold the crowd like that.
Hey, speaking of, though, Mark Cuban, Jason K, whatever, they're listening to the text line, because the two people we were talking about, Josh Green and Rashawn Holmes, are contributing right now. I think Josh Green...
Is Markeith getting in then?
Watch, Keith's going to go off in the second quarter, but Josh Green at least has 5. I've seen 5 buckets myself. He might have more. Rashawn Holmes is playing big minutes on the bench. Derrick Jones Jr. is hitting 3. So text line, this is the remedy. Y'all got to just come to the get right late at night, and Jason Kidd listens, and we win.
Yeah, Josh Green has 12 points.
Oh, my God.
He currently leads the Dallas Mavericks. 5 of 7 on the field, 3 of 4, or 2 of 3, rather, from 3. Sorry, wow. 2 of 4. Good God. I apologize. Let's start that again. 12 points, 5 of 7 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3.
And that's really all you need. He could score no more points during the game. If he gives you 12 every single night.
And a great spark. Now, the tough thing about that is that 12 is kind of making up for Tim Hardaway Jr., who's currently not shooting well, 1 for 6 thus far. And he's been one of, if you look at any box score to any of these games, particularly the ones that you win, you see 3 big numbers. It's usually Kyrie and Luka, and then Tim Hardaway Jr., who is your 6-man just gunner coming off the bench. And right now he hasn't been shooting well, so some of that is made up by Josh Green. But right now, doing a great job offensively against the Lakers team that is not producing the offense not producing offense in general, which they haven't been doing particularly well this season. The score is 48-36 at Crypto.com Arena. About 6 minutes to go, about halfway through the second quarter in that one. It's the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. I want to remind you again, 1053thefan.com/peaceathon if you want to bid on the auction items that are still up for another approximately 90 minutes right here on the fan. It's look, man, it's a big event. It's the 10th annual Peace-a-thon. It raises money for My Possibilities. It's a fantastic charity that does great work, and you can get some really, really cool stuff. Check it out. Just do me a favor. If you haven't looked at it, go 105throughthefan.com/Peace-a-thon. Check it out. See if there's anything interesting that you like, or just donate to a great cause in My Possibilities. Before we go to break, I do want to give you this update. Your Dallas Stars have, in fact, scored. Of course, none other than Rupe Hintz, who scores for the Dallas Stars, equalizes it at 1 apiece in the second period. That'll put your Stars in maybe opportunity or in position to go and win this one going forward. It's the Get Right here on 105.3 The Fan. Coming up next, what's your favorite game of this long, extended Thanksgiving weekend? We got NFL football. We got college football and rivalry week. What are you looking forward to? We'll discuss it next on 105.3 The Fan.
Always a welcome sign for this clubhouse. Featuring breaking sports news, inside info, opinion, with laughs along the way. Turn it on, leave it on. The Fan and the Odyssey app.
here after one more word. Peace-a-thon. Peace-a-thon. And you don't want to miss it because there is some amazing experiences on there. Reggie, what's the one that you've seen that has not been talked about? You're like, you have got to get this one because there is 1,000 on there.
There's so many good ones, right? I mean, one of them that's still up there is there's like a FC Dallas jersey from this year that's really interesting. There's a whole bunch of like various signed things that are up there. Like when it comes to memorabilia, I know we've got a lot of great fans of memorabilia in the listening audience, and so there's a lot of great things there. I mean, but the tough thing about it is when it comes to these types of events, I know there's this. I know that coming up soon we have the Swinging for a Cause charity for Jared Sandler. You can't really replace the experiences.
100%.
And so right now there's still an opportunity to like have a cooking class with Sean Sharif at Globe Life Field. There's an opportunity to have a dinner with Eric Nadell and Derek Holland. There's an opportunity to join KNC Masterpiece for a day.
One of ones.
There's there's an opportunity to go golfing with Mike Adams, former Rangers pitcher Mike Adams, right? There's all sorts of really interesting kind of experiences in that way that are on there that are still available. So go and check those out. 105throughthefan.com/peaceathon to see what's happening there. But I asked you before we went to break, what is for you the game that you are most excited for over the Thanksgiving break? Look, man, we love this holiday. Get a chance to eat, get a chance to hang out with some families or people that you care about. And then there's a lot of football available. There's some basketball, whether it's NBA or, college basketball, men's or women's. This is kind of tournament time as that season's going. What games are you excited to be able to take in this, for what is a lot of people, extended weekend due to the holiday?
Yeah, I'm going to give a boring answer, but it's just the truth. When I think of Thanksgiving, I just think football. That's just the first thing that comes to my head, and that's usually what I do. So I'm going to be ecstatic to be at the Cowboys game live and watching that game as they go take on the Commies. But the one that I'll be watching the most intensely on my TV, it doesn't get better than the rivalry between Ohio State and Big Blue. So I'll be watching that one every second of that. Those are the two that come to my mind. I cannot wait to see who wins that one. I think Big Blue will pull it out, but I mean, it'll be an amazing one. I don't know who's on the call for that one, but I'll have to look at that. But I just can't wait for that game to come. I'm going to be rewinding it, rewatching it. Can't say enough about it.
Yeah,
Rich.
the game is your big noon kickoff on Fox, so I imagine you're getting Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt. That'll make it even more fun. Number 2, Ohio State at the Big House to face off against Michigan. Man, this is definitely a big one. Both of these teams, their seasons have been gearing towards that because the schedules, especially early on for both of these teams, a little lackluster. Not to say that they did not do what needed to be done. They went out and won these games. But I think those games did not tell us a ton about these teams. Even Penn State, Penn State has a really good defense. The offense has just been real disappointing. And so this is what everybody has been waiting for. This game as an opportunity to really be a gauge for both of these teams. I mean, look, Michigan is the team I think most people are like geared towards looking at. I'm trying to be careful to not underrate Ohio State because it feels like that's the place that they're at, which is really unusual, right? Michigan, for a long period of time, they weren't winning this game, and it was one of the things that I personally would needle Jim Harbaugh about. I keep doing that. John coaches the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh about, because it's like they brought him in to win the big games, and there was a good time where they weren't winning this game. They won the last 2 years, and you could see the stature that Michigan is at, and I feel like a lot of people, lean that way now. Ohio State has been really good this year. They will have the best player on the field when you talk about the man that wears number 18 playing wide receiver. And they have been gearing up. Like if you are inclined to believe previous performances in the week leading up lead you to feel that they are going to perform in a certain way. They have been playing better football as they have moved towards the end of the season. So this gives you a really interesting opportunity, especially considering Michigan passing the football is one that you're a little bit concerned about.
And this is why these kids go to these schools. When you sign up and you say, I want to be a Michigan Wolverine, I'm going to let you know it's not for a perfect season. It's honestly not even for that title game, or it's not for the college football playoffs. It is to beat Ohio State.
Or vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
This is why these kids go there. They are trying to run up the score. There is no, I want to win by. They want to win by as many points. You will see. I would put a bet. If you could bet on it, the over-under of bench clearing fights, I would give at least 1.5 would be the line for me. Because there will be some fights. There will be some bad blood. There will be some tunnel talking, mid-game, half-game, or pre-game talking. So I just love the energy that comes around that big noon kickoff. Gus Johnson on the call. Can't wait for it.
I think these are both really good teams, and Ryan Day is usually pretty good about winning these games, and also probably needs to win this game. Ohio State, look, Ryan Day is a really good coach, but Ohio State as a program, I imagine might get a little squirrely if you lose 3 in a row to Michigan. I lean towards Michigan as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Blue is really, Big Blue has been, in a really good place. They run the ball incredibly well. I do think Ohio State probably is better at passing the football, but I'm not sure that I really believe in Kyle McCord in a big way. So look, obviously this is a tight game and a really even looking game. And so that's really one of the fun ones of rivalry week. On the truckwreck.com text line, y'all are texting in. We appreciate you interacting with the program. From the 940, they point to Eagles, Bills. They think that that's going to be a fun one when it comes down to it. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I'm go Reggie, but I think we're in the exact same space. I think if you'd have told me this preseason, yes. But just if you watch the Chiefs game, the Eagles offense is a little boring to watch. A lot of draws, a lot of screens, a lot of tush push. And the Bills, while they can move the ball up and down sometimes, they just can get a little stagnant and they can have some 3 and out. So I'm not as hyped as I was preseason to watch this. I think it'll still be a good football game, but I'm not like turning my schedule to make sure I watch every snap of it.
I don't think that's a bad game to watch, though. I think the Bills obviously had become less of like that must-watch type feel, it felt like, after a little while. And I understand that they went and got a win after letting go of Ken Dorsey, but it felt like the offense was still doing the same stuff. They just happened to win.
Playing the Jets.
I mean, and not to say the offense was good metrically, right? So I'm interested in seeing, I guess I am interested in some ways, how that game is and against what is, inarguably, right? Like you cannot argue the idea that the Eagles are one of the good teams in this league. So.
If the Bills beat the Eagles, what do we think?
That'd be great. Like that'd be really helpful. I guess I hadn't considered that enough from the 940 that maybe they're just looking at this idea of, hey, can the Bills be the team to help the Cowboys out in that regard of opening up that window and a possibility to go and win the NFC East?
If the Bills beat the Eagles, all of us around that do sports radio, we're not going to know what to say. We're not. Who's going to win the NFC? It's going to be like every team has a couple losses where you're just kind of like, huh? The Bills are a great team. Don't get me wrong, but they're not the team that's pushing for that AFC Championship game anymore. So if they can beat the Eagles, is it the Chiefs or the Bills that's the best team? Is it the Eagles or the Cowboys? The debates will be had. So that'll be interesting as far as narratives go, because I would love for the Buffalo Bills to get a W.
I imagine there's a lot of people under the sound of your voice that wholly agree. From the 817, they said, kind of excited to see the Lions finally slap down the Packers. Of course, that's the first game on Thanksgiving, first game that we'll get tomorrow. Jack Harlow performing at halftime on that one. I was like, okay, that's an interesting thing. I
thought he was kind of a one-hit wonder. I'm in the hip hop music scene and I still don't really hear him. He had that one good song and then the song with Drake and we haven't heard much. So I don't know. How does that work? How do they choose that? Do they just go like, oh, who had the most viral song this year last year?
I imagine that some of it is like bookers, if they're willing and if they're able and if the schedule matches up. I don't know exactly all the
best
details.
We could get.
But regardless, it's kind of interesting to have a game on Thanksgiving with the Lions where the Lions are not the team that we're looking at like, ooh, why did y'all give us this team?
Yeah, we want Lions.
It's kind of incredible. So that might be the novelty of it in and of itself. On top of that, I know there's a lot of people that don't like the Packers. So shout out to 817 who's going to see that. From the 806, they said they'll be watching the Red Raiders hopefully pull off the upset in Austin on Friday. I know that Brett Yormark will be right there with you. There's a lot of people, a lot of teams that are hoping that Texas loses to Tech. You got any belief in your body that might actually happen on Saturday?
Yep. I don't think it'll happen, but I will say at the same time, Texas has shown us that they can fall on their face in the biggest of stages
in history. But it feels like, and maybe I'm giving them too much credit, but it feels like this year at the very least what they have learned is get the job done. It hasn't looked pretty a lot of times, but
Sark knows what he's doing. They've lost their all-pro running back in Brooks, and then I think they got the rookie Baxter. I keep saying I'm talking NFL. The freshman Baxter, who's shown he's got some wheels. So I think they should be able to take care of business, but Texas loves to keep some of these games interesting. Iowa State was keeping it close up until half last week, so it'll be an interesting one that I'll have on a little side screen.
From the 214, they mentioned 2 NFL games. They mentioned Texans Jags, which
yeah, young QBs.
Yeah, the younger QBs. Because I mean, look, I feel like. Well, actually, let me ask this as a question because I'm thinking of it as a statement, and I'm not certain that I fully even think of it that way. Do you feel like Trevor Lawrence is kind of a known commodity and we know where he is, or is he still a little bit in flux? Because I know this year he hasn't been the I don't know, rocket of a quarterback that he has been in previous years.
So I will say this. He has not been the eye grabber like we've seen, but he does still have that playoff win under his belt. He did win NFC Player of the Week, I believe, this past week for his passing performance over Brock Purdy, who had a perfect passer rating. But I think a little bit has to do with his receivers. Now, I'm not saying they're not good, but Calvin Ridley has been one of the more up and down receivers. Like, without Christian Kirk in the lineup, if you go look at his stats, it is like bottom of the league. And then Christian Kirk is out there, and he's like the elite top 15 receiver we kind of all expected him to be this year. So I just think it's a little bit of inconsistency from the offensive side of the ball.
Wait, hold on. I wanted to let you go, but did you say that Christian Kirk's a top 15 receiver?
No, Calvin Ridley. I'm saying Calvin Ridley where we expected him to be this year.
Gotcha. Sorry, I misheard you. That's
no, you're good.
Apologies.
I was saying with Christian Kirk, we just expected Calvin Ridley to be the guy that T-Law was going to go to, kind of like Garrett Wilson-esque how he was last year. That's at least what I expected. And we didn't really see that. And now he's kind of getting back to himself. So I do agree with the fan text. That is a game I'll be tuned into because T-Law is back on the up. CJ Stroud has been making his MVP campaign, keeps winning games. So to see who pulls that one out, both pretty good defenses, pretty above average. So we'll see how that one turns out. That one might be a shootout.
Yeah, and you're right. Trevor Lawrence was the AFC player of the week.
My bad.
But I mean, I think the point was well made and well taken. And of course, the game that everybody is going to be paying attention to because they always do is the Dallas Cowboys welcoming in the Washington Commandos tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. right here on your home of the Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. Pregame starts at 12 noon. Before that, you'll have yours truly, Blake Elliott, alongside Will Chambers from 9 to noon. And then, of course, Eric Chiafalo and Brian Broaddus will have the pregame for you. They'll have Tracy Wolfson on that at some point. Bobby Belt, of course, Brad Sham, all the usual suspects. And Chris Arnold will have a player interview with Tyler Smith, your left guard for this team. So fantastic Thanksgiving, and it should be a fun one. I mean, I anticipate wholly a win for your Dallas Cowboys and hopefully a really good-looking win for your Dallas Cowboys as well.
Yes, sir. You don't want to miss it. I will be here at 9 a.m. Give me some energy, guys. I'm going to need the Tolo energy.
Oh, yeah, you got a little bit of a turnaround, don't you?
I got a turnaround. I'm going to have to go to sleep right after this and be right back up here in a couple hours. So I'm doing my own little peace-a-thon with I don't think I even said that one right.
I think you were good there. You're fine.
Peace-a-thon, Blake edition. I will be back here at 9 a.m. to be with Mr. Will Chambers. So I need all the energy, all the caffeine, and all the love.
Well, before we get to that, we just got to get through the final call, and we'll do that next on 105 through the Fan.
Pro football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season. So he does 2 things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing.
2 things at once!
Or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
2 things at once.
practices, solar farms, you name it. Why do so many billionaires invest into private equity? Because of historically low correlation to the stock market and historically higher returns. If you have a goal with your portfolio but aren't there yet, call Trajan Wealth today. Call 469-579-3500. 469-579-3500.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. May require accreditation.
Do you know that during this time of year, blood donations are at their lowest? You can help. In just 1 hour, you can donate blood with Carter Blood Care to help local patients in need. Donate blood, save lives. Visit carterbloodcare.org or call 800-366-2834.
Myers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control rental and sales for work zones and events in the DFW area and beyond. Myers Barricades is a full-service provider, taking care of your project from the evaluation and traffic control planning to setting up, maintaining, and taking down the equipment when the project is complete. If you're in need of barricade rental, learn more at buyersbarricades.com. Service-driven and safety-inspired. Myers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. buyersbarricades.com.
Hi there, it's Pete Thompson from the consumer team. This summer's record heat put a real strain on your HVAC system, which means it needs a tune-up before you turn on the heat. Call the On-Time Experts today and get their fall tune-up, normally $199, for just $59. Your system will get a thorough cleaning and maintenance, and you'll get a stay warm guarantee for this winter, too. Call now. This discount is for new customers that call today. TheOnTimeExperts.com. TheOnTimeExperts.com.
You don't mind if we keep playing this, do you?
He struck him out looking. The Rangers have won the World
One more time.
He struck him out looking. The Rangers have won the World Series.
Whether it's hot stove or spring training 2024,
Ranger fans, you're not dreaming.
you know this is the proud home of the Rangers. We are the Fan.
This segment on 105.3 The Fan is sponsored by Classic Chevrolet. Classic Chevrolet in Grapevine's one-time Equinox offload. A limited supply of excess Equinox models will be sold direct to the public below market value. See them all at ClassicChevrolet.com. Don't wait, the best sell fast. Classic Chevrolet, find new roads.
To get right here on your home of the World Series champion Texas Rangers and Dallas Cowboys, 105.3 The Fan. Reginald Atatula sitting alongside the Fan Phenom winner Blake Elliott.
Talk to me.
Appreciate you rocking with us on this Peace-a-thon Wednesday on Thanksgiving Eve. Appreciate Chris Strong for hanging with us on the ones and twos, and we also very much appreciate the Kansas City Masterpiece for their 10th annual Peace-a-thon, this incredible charitable event that they do every year to benefit My Possibilities, and for all the folks who have contributed, who have bid, who have donated to this fine event. This is the final call right here on 105 through The Fan. A couple of things that are happening. Your Dallas Stars currently deadlocked at 1 goal apiece, currently on the power play in the third period. There's about 17 minutes to go in that one at the American Airlines Center. And the Dallas Mavericks showing some real good play and some interesting wrinkles as they're facing off against the Lakers. It's currently they're just starting the third quarter, coming out from half. They're up 62-46 right now. And I think the big note is that Rashawn Holmes was the first big off the bench and didn't do too bad for himself, did he, Blake?
Yeah, 4 points, an assist, a block, or I believe, and then a couple rebounds, +9 out there. And I think this is what the fan text is what a lot of people have been thinking is, why do we get him if we're not going to play him? He gets
6 rebounds, in fact.
6 rebounds.
Yep.
Gets some minutes, and he's been productive. And that's no shots at Dwight Powell. Great player, but just sometimes you need some differences out there. And if you're watching the game, it's been a clear effort out there with Rashawn Holmes that they're up and down the floor grabbing offensive and defensive rebounds. So shout out to the fan text. Jason Kidd was listening. Mavs are hooping.
So there you go. That's fun. The fan text, speaking of, they wanted to let you know it's called a clopin, close open. They said, hang in there, buddy.
Okay, the clopin.
You've never worked. Have you worked in retail before?
I have. I worked at
Have
Nike.
you ever had to do with a clopin?
I had a clopin. I had a clopin when we worked Black Friday.
Ooh, buddy.
That was bad.
Condolences,
the Black Friday
friend.
clopin was insane. And Amazon. I worked 2 jobs. Amazon overnight.
Delivery or stalker or what?
I grabbed stuff out of the back and put it on the conveyor belt. Made sure packages got to people. And then worked at Nike later in the day and did that back and forth.
Look, man, don't let nobody tell you Blake ain't a hustler. Been out here working. Look, man, I got to give it to you one more time. 105throughthefan.com/peaceathon. Look, man, it's for a great cause. It's for a charity that helps adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and they do fantastic work here locally in the Metroplex. That's where all the proceeds, 100% of the proceeds, 0% goes to anybody's pockets at the fan or anything. This goes 100% all the way to My Possibilities, and it always has. And let me tell you about some of these items that don't even have a single bid, as you have about an hour left to get a bid in. All the bidding closes at 11:59 this evening. Hey, man, is there any of your friends, any of your family, any of your own children, anybody have children, youngsters? Look, man, one of the things that you always should do, one of the things I wish my parents would have done when I was younger is swim lessons, man. Getting the babies an opportunity to learn how to swim is a great thing. And you can get swim lessons, $175 value. There are no bids on it. The starting bid would be $70. That you can get that at a discount and make sure the babies are well prepared to be able to handle the water. That's something that's out there. How about this? Blaze Pizza for a year. You can get 53 pizzas, which is obviously one per week for the entirety of a year. That is a value of $600. No bids on it. Your starting bid would be $240.
You're saving money, guys.
That's savings, baby.
You're literally saving. Somebody go snipe somebody. So you might see some bids in here like, I don't want to go back and forth with the bid. Hey, if you're still up and listening to the Get Right with Blake and Reg, you're in luck because you can go snipe somebody. Some people may be asleep. They thought they were going to get that item, whether that be the Cowboys suite, the Rangers game, the WWE with all the fan hosts. It's your chance to get the Barrett 50 cal out and go snipe that item. Make it yours.
If you're a real football head, Barkevius Mingo has a game-used autographed chin strap that's in there. Hey, man, sometimes you just got to get some things done. If the house has been looking a little sad. How about Rafter Diamond Company, Diamond C that does, Rafter Diamond C Home Services. They've got a residential driveway and sidewalk pressure wash. So like we can get that driveway looking clean. I know you've been looking at that oil stain sick.
Pressure washer is very underrated.
Just sick at that. Chris laughed. You know that oil stain is sitting in your driveway, just annoying the heck out of you. Let these folks pressure wash it for you. Get it beautiful and clean. That's a $350 value. That's $140 starting bid right now. You can get a great deal. You get the house looking all clean. And let me tell you, people, nobody has bid on this pizza party, and I'm just amazed.
Come on,
pizza party for $12. And you get a pizza oven after. So you learn how to make artisanal pizza.
Artisanal.
Right? Maybe you're like, Blaze Pizza, I don't want to buy it. Hey, man, look, you can make your own pizza consistently. There's a chef that'll come through and teach you how to make pizzas with you and 11 of your friends. And then you will have the pizza oven to make all the pizzas to your heart's contentment. Man, that's fantastic. You can do great things for your family, especially you got the babies. Hey, let's get some pizza. How about I can make it for you a little bit healthier? I can make it for you nicer. You don't have to be doing that mess from elsewhere. Look, man, there's a lot of great things that are still not even bid on for Pizzathon. And remember, it all goes for an incredible.
Please go bid. Corey and all those KNC guys, they said if everything's not bid on, that I was the bad luck charm. So I need y'all. I know. And
I don't want that on you.
I don't want that to happen.
Don't let Blake. You know what I mean? Don't let Blake feel bad.
Don't make me feel bad. It's my second week. And if y'all don't bid on something, I'm the bad luck charm. Go put a bid on it. It doesn't even have to be you. Share the word. Maybe you got a friend.
We got an hour, baby. Let's go.
You got an hour to make a difference.
I mean, look, from the 817. And you're right. Don't let your kid be the kid who can't swim at the pool party.
Come on. That's the worst. Because that's not only your kid that falls on you.
And yeah, beyond that, like, look, man, I'm 31 years old. I can't swim fast. I can swim enough to to live for a certain amount of time.
You can tread water?
Yeah, I can tread water. I can move. It'll take a while. I really wish somebody had put me in swim classes when I was a baby.
Shout out Grandma. She took me to Elmer swim class.
You know what I mean? Like I bet you still appreciate Grandma for that.
Yep.
So look, man, do that for the child in your life. Get some swim classes. Get on there. Again, just browse it. You'll be amazed at the different things. And if nothing else, you can see all the incredible things that were put together, all for a great cause, My Possibilities, here in the DFW. Once again, the website, 1053thefan.com/peaceathon. Check that out, please, please, please. And of course, it all goes to a great cause. From 940, your old Reg, I'm starting to feel it. I get it. From the 972, never learned how to float. Look, man, don't let that happen to the child in your life. Don't let that happen.
Or
to
any
the
child you know, even if you have a friend.
Your child, your
They
friend.
might not listen to the fan, and you can tell them about the fan and shout out My Possibilities, Peace-a-thon.
Or you can just buy it for him. Just buy it for him.
Or just buy it for him.
Make sure
Be
the
that
babies
guy.
are taken care of. It takes a village.
Yep.
It takes a village.
Well-
Now, it doesn't take a village to beat the Washington Commandos. The Dallas Cowboys will have an opportunity to do that tomorrow, and you can hear that right here on 105.3 The Fan. Pregame starts at noon. Eric Chiafalo, Brian Broaddus holding it down as usual. They'll have Tracy Wolfson at some point. Of course, they'll talk to Bobby. Brad Cham will have Mike McCarthy, all those things. And Chris Arnold will have the player interview with Tyler Smith. So make sure you want to keep it locked here on 105.3 The Fan. Starting at 9 a.m., where Blake will be hanging out with Will Chambers. So they'll get you started on this day of Thanksgiving. And I hope that you all have a fantastic Thanksgiving.
See y'all in the morning, Tolos. Tune in. Don't miss it.
Have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And until then, be easy.
Woo! Peace. Shout out my mama.
We have you covered, Stars fans, with exclusive content from two-time Stanley Cup champion Greg Ludwig and NHL reporter Sean Shapiro. It's Spits and Suds 3 times weekly on the Odyssey app or wherever your favorite podcasts are found.
Pro football player Travis Kelce is pressed for time during the football season, so he does 2 things at once. Whether it's grilling while mowing,
2 things at once!
or getting this season's updated COVID-19 shot at the same visit as his flu shot.
2 things at once.
You can be like Travis and ask your pharmacist about getting this season's COVID-19 shot at the same visit as your flu shot if you're due for both, as recommended by the CDC. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Dell's Black Friday event is their biggest sale of the year. Shop limited time deals on laptops like the stylish, innovative XPS 13, engineered to do it all on the Intel Evo platform. Plus, save big on ultra-sharp monitors and top brand accessories. It's the perfect time to upgrade any home, business, or gaming set.